All right. Hope everyone's having a happy day today. My name's Lavia Ray, and here we are for a discussion on Sonic Prime. I'm here with my friends Derpida,
Hi.
Ian Waffles,
Howdy.
and Crazy Elf. Say how to do
Hello.
Crazy Elf.
Hello. What are you doing here? How'd you find your way into the studio?
Yeah.
Listen, man, I don't know. I'm just sitting here, and he just said, "Hey, we want to do this." I was like, "Yeah, why not?" Here I
Oh,
am
that's the spirit. That's the
talking
Sonic
about
spirit.
Prime.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
You know what they say? Two's company, three's a crowd, four is a podcast discussion.
That is
Amazing.
true. And what are we talking about today? You said Sonic Prime?
Yes, we have all four of us have just recently finished watching this. I have just finished watching the show, and we're here to have a little bit of discussion about it. Getting a discussion started both on here, and hopefully, if everyone here who's listening can join us in the comment section below. So we're going to go in alphabetical order here, just talk about just general thoughts about what we viewed about the show, and we'll go in alphabetical order. So, Derp, why don't you kick us off?
Just general thoughts.
General thoughts.
I thought it was pretty good. I really wanted to love it though, and I think Lav knows this because I think I was saying it like, "This is going to be the next best thing," and Sonic Frontiers, Mino likey IDW. This is going to be my favorite second thing of the year for the Sonic franchise, and I thought it was good. Didn't think it was great, but I thought it was good. A lot of nitpicks, and it's probably the meanest thing I can say about it. Who's next?
Oh, that would be Crazy Elf.
Well, I liked the show a lot, honestly. I watched it twice already. And I mean, it's not perfect. It's really far from being perfect. But I don't even know. On emotional level, it just feels nice to watch, and it's such a breath of fresh air. You look at Sonic, and he's just you don't want to kill him or punch him or anything like that. You just want him to succeed, and that's a breath of fresh air. Because after IGW and stuff, it's just damn. This feels just nice.
All right.
8 out of 10.
Oh,
Gotcha. As for me, so for me with Sonic Prime, the way I came into it, I was very excited to see, a new Sonic show. And I think I've come away from at least these first 6 episodes feeling like this is kind of like that part in the anime where they're trying to like set up everything. They're trying to show up all the different worlds, show up all the different characters. And as it stands for that, I'm not super invested, but I do think if going forward with where it ends by the end of the 8th episode, if we then start digging into the characters that I was actually invested in seeing, then the show could definitely upgrade itself. So I have a lot of props with it. I didn't really have that good of a time after the first 3 episodes, and even then it was kind of waning by episode 2. And by the end, I really just wasn't having a good time. So that'll be something we can discuss as we go.
right. All right, and I'll go ahead and bring this up. I'll go ahead and wrap this part up. This Sonic Prime was exceptionally frustrating for me because there are a lot of interesting things here that I was enjoying. Like I was enjoying to a certain extent a lot of the different interpretations for some of these characters. I like the idea of trying to do something new and different with Eggman, which was desperately needed. And I kind of like the fact that I didn't want to punch the Sonic like I did with IDW Sonic. So on that alone, it's already I would qualify to be the second best thing to come out of the franchise this year. Beating out Frontiers just for the fact that there are actually moments in here that are genuinely unironically funny.
Yeah.
But the thing I found, but it ended up leaving me frustrated in a lot of places, mainly in terms of not only because of the Sonic, but some of the ideas that it was ultimately trying to go for in a couple of episodes. And like Waffle said, I would be more willing to give it more credit if it actually did try developing the actual characters a little bit more. But like you said, we can come back to that later. Okay, so long story short, I am still looking forward to see where the series goes, but it has way more problems than I feel that it really should. So I'm giving it a 5 right now, but we're gonna come back to that and try to go into a little more discussion. So to expand on that a little bit, I think the best thing to try to do is to break this down into a discussion over the 4 basic arcs. We were discussing technically 5 since there is another location here, but I think it's best to just include that section into the Cyberpunk arc, as that's more connected to as it's more connected to that, not really meant to be a standalone story. I was trying to find a way to make that funny, but I just ended up playing that straight. So we're going to break this down by the main universe, the cyberpunk universe, the jungle universe, and then the pirate universe. So let's go ahead and start out with the main universe. So that's where we end up getting everything started off. We keep flashing back to everything with that. So let's start with you, Waffle, because I think I know what you were trying to go for here. I think this is a good place to start here. So what were your thoughts of like the main universe arc to start out with?
Yeah, so with the main universe, the thing to start off with the positives, one, I think just in general, Devin Mack really carries the character of Sonic. A lot of the things he says, I think, oh, that should annoy me, or maybe that could come off as like annoying. But the way he says it, I think, is always really endearing. And he, I think, unlike most of the Sonic voice actors, besides maybe like Ben Schwartz, he really actually knows how to like, I don't know, just actually use his voice to punctuate different parts of a sentence, or actually go in and out between like comedic and semi-comedic and really serious, and then kind of like more trying to uplift someone. So as far as Sonic goes, I feel like he's pretty enjoyable most of the cartoon, just because of how good Devin Mack is as Sonic. I really enjoyed his voice. So from the jump, I really just enjoyed everything he was saying, and all the characters in the cast. I actually think do a really good job for the characters. I think they all just sound really good. But my problems mostly start to come in with the idea of, they try to present the opening scene tries to present this idea of Sonic is kind of like the jumps too far headfirst into things, and his friends are kind of annoyed with him. But then we keep going back, and we keep going further and further back, and we get more context of this situation. And my problem I generally ended up having was, I never felt like what Sonic did ever came across as not caring for his friends. In fact, the first thing he does whenever he lets Eggman get into his head or whatever, is he goes to Tails, and he's like, Tails, I am super sorry for what I did. I know exactly what was wrong. I would like you to forgive me. I'm really sorry. So he has a lot of emotional maturity, this Sonic, and yet everyone keeps treating him like he doesn't listen, or like that he's like an annoying friend. But then we'll have flashbacks where he is being annoying, and he's like, Amy, I hate your stupid tree present, which we can get into that later. But and so we have this contrast, and then we have the idea of him being late, and they're all mad at him for it. So I thought he was goofing off, but then we find out he wasn't goofing off. So is the idea supposed to be that his friends are wrong about Sonic, that he actually does care really deeply? I mean, in that fight, he's telling Shadow, hey, I got to get to my friends. They're going to be hurt. And Shadow's like, I'm angry. I'm going to fight you. And he's like, well, I guess I don't want to die, so I'm going to fight you. And so then he gets there, and many of his friends say, hey, Sonic, that crystal is really dangerous. We need to make sure no matter what, Eggman doesn't get it. And he goes, great, I'll destroy it, because he's trying to pull it out. And then we get to the point of what I think the message is, which is that Sonic, he says, I cared too much about winning, but you didn't care too much about winning. You cared about getting to your friends, but everyone's also really mad at you, but you just seem like a nice guy, except for when you're not a nice guy. So it's just really confused. And I don't buy anything the story is trying to sell me about Sonic being this like he jumps too far in, and he's not listening to his friends and all this kind of stuff. But then also sometimes he is that. So that's my inherent problem with the flashback sections. We can talk about other characters like Shadow and how he's portrayed and all those types of things. But Sonic himself is the core character. I never once bought any of the emotions he was feeling as far as what his arc was, because I'm like, Sonic, what the fuck do you have to learn? You seem like you're a great guy, and you literally just made a mistake. You didn't do anything wrong. So why do you feel bad? So yeah, so that's my opening statement.
All right. Oh, so Crazy Elf, like any responses or anything you'd like to add?
Defend the hog.
Oh, actually, the first episode is really hard to defend, especially like everything that happens like in the old world, because I have my own beef with it. That's like,
Eggman went, nah, Sonic, you suck. Tails, don't listen to him, Sonic. Nah, you suck. Ooh, I'm getting real mad. And your friend sucks too. Ooh, I'm getting real mad. And then he pushes them off the cliff.
I found the one scene to be really jarring with how Sonic does just like act to like, oh, I'm gonna slam you. Whoa, crazy shockwave. And then Tails is like, oh, I'm sad now. And Andy has like the one line where he's like, Tails never gets upset. And then Sonic goes to Tails and he understands exactly what he's done wrong. Even though it doesn't really look that way in the prior scene, it's kind of off. They kind of just have like Sonic know what the plot is, so he's like, well, I know Tails is sad because of my rash actions, so I'm going to apologize for that. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but it feels a bit clunky the way it's directed, I think.
yes.
And while we do talk about Sonic in this, I really wanted to like defend how he acts in this, because I'm not opposed to the whole like silly kind of, oh, I didn't get that thing, or I acted too quick and now I am making mistakes about it. The thing is, and we'll probably like continue to say this later, it happens too much. I think I wouldn't be opposed to this new like character trait if he just got better as the show went on, where like this is a new adventure. So, you know, maybe at the beginning he's acting a little bit out of character and he's being a little bit like overconfident and a bit too rash. But as the plot progresses and he takes the situation more seriously, he starts to think more and take steps back and realize, oh, this is serious. I got to make sure I don't screw up. But that does, I think, happen. It's not to the extent I think people want it to be. At least that's how I felt.
Okay, Crazy Elf.
Yeah. Well, I think Sonic is just like, damn it, for what they're trying to go for. Like they say, Sonic, you don't listen to people what they say. Like Shadow, like, he actually says that they're like, why won't you just listen to what we say? The problem is, they don't say, like, they blame him for, well, at least Shadow later blames him. This is all your fault. This is all because of your doing.
Yeah.
In there, but
Yeah.
I look, even on the first watching, me and Love were sitting there and watching like how he fights this fake Eggman fight. Like he needs to knock him off the mountain there just to crack it open. Tails notice, like, he finds out that Eggman isn't there, but what he chooses to tell Sonic, like, Sonic, it's a trap. Like, he wants Sonic to not fight this thing, and the thing he just decides to tell him, it's Sonic, it's a trap. What is Sonic supposed to take out of this?
Right.
So, like,
what part of it's a trap?
Yeah, what is he supposed to do about this? You can just tell him, hey, Eggman isn't there. You don't have to fight him. This is all a setup, but he chooses to not do that.
Mm-hmm. So
and then Sonic does the thing, and the mountain cracks.
Yeah. So do you agree with the premise that we're kind of saying of like, it's like, I don't even think Sonic's really at fault here. I don't know what everyone's so mad about.
Yeah, well, he did do all these things that they told him not to do, but they didn't do enough to prevent him from doing all these things. And quite honestly, yes, he is exceptionally good. He's such a good boy in this show. Like, they blame him for all these things, and he's trying his best for them, for multiple versions of them later, and they just
they'll need to constantly hate on him the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, that's the weird part. This Sonic does have character flaws that I think would be really interesting to try to explore. Granted, I think they would be better fits for Amy's character, but I'll get to that later. The things that they do try having get a conflict, they do try giving him character conflicts for, make no sense, and if anything goes against it, like you guys were saying before about how they keep hating on him for not listening. not listening or listening to his friends. But if anything, he's kind of doing that a little too. He's kind of doing that in weird places. But when it comes to the things that they explicitly use as examples, they're not that good of examples. Like Shadow complaining about him not listening, but it's like, dude, you've just been punching him in the face. You haven't been saying anything.
Yeah.
You showed up and just
Shadow
attacked
says-
me.
Yeah, Shadow just comes in, says, "Hey, why don't you listen to what I
Defaults to
say?"
attack mode.
Yeah, and then he proceeds to not tell him anything and just punches.
By the way, I wanna make it very clear. The reason he is mad is because of that one explosion of the one robot that made just a crack in the ground, and he's like, "Holy shit, the world's end. Fuck you, Sonic."
Yeah, and he saw a vision. Like he had a Chaos Emerald on him already, I think, and he had a vision while this like shockwave was going through him. And he was like, he saw Sonic and damn it, what did you do, Sonic?
By the way, that Chaos Emerald that he found by running around and just punching rocks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like lifting trucks is one thing, but he can just
He's literally
Well,
playing
his
Animal
Chaos
Crossing.
Emeralds. His Chaos Emeralds sends his tingling.
He's looking for rare drops.
Okay. All right, hold on. And to get back on point for a sec, and the funny part is, Sonic does have this issue, but in other places, like when it comes to those situations, like with Shadow, or with what happened with the robot at the beginning, or him shattering the jewels. Almost in all those situations, they either didn't say enough where he didn't have they either didn't say enough for him to like process anything with it, or they didn't get to him in time, so he actually could change what he was doing in the first place.
And when they are mad at him, he is immediately really remorseful.
Right.
yeah.
You can't even be mad at him even if he did do something wrong, because he very clearly has no ill intentions. And he doesn't even have like cocky, like, I'm the coolest guy around, you guys are all my fodder loser friends. He's like, I love my friends, we're all really great, I love when we stick together, group hug, baby. And they're like, man, fuck Sonic, he just like sometimes doesn't listen.
And I really want to get okay. And this also first off, I really want to come back to that when we get to the jungle arc. But when it comes to this in particular, and but the funny part is, and he actually shows this later, he doesn't end up listening to his friends in some situations, but it's not in a way that the show wants to address, and that's covered more than and that's definitely covered a lot in the Cyberpunk arc, which is one of my big issues with his character. But yeah, they keep trying to give him weird character conflicts that don't make any sense throughout the entire story, and I'm like, look, guys, I'm respecting the idea of like actually showing that Sonic has like things he needs to grow on as a character. I like that, but maybe you need to think about what these arcs are and how they make and how they even make sense.
Well,
But,
it also might help if so Sonic in the first episode separated from his friends. It would be really nice if I knew who the heck any of these people were, because I don't have any reason to care about any of Sonic's friends in this besides Tails, because he actually gives like the little flashback of like how they met, what their connection is, and we'll talk about 9 later. But like, who's this Amy? Who is this Rouge? Who is this Shadow? Why should I care? Or who's Knuckles, for crying out loud? The whole time, anytime Sonic mentions Knuckles, he's like, man, I sure do hate Knuckles. And I'm like, why? Why do you hate Knuckles? What did Knuckles do?
It's strange because they do treat this as like something new people can get into, but it also doesn't.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm really glad you brought up Rouge, because I actually think she's the biggest offender of the 4, because one,
You might not like how I do things, but they sure do work. It's like, okay, what does that mean?
nothing.
Do you remember that line?
Oh
No,
man,
I remember that line. That
you
was one
weren't
of the-
paying
those were-
attention. She's got like huge heart of gold behind those wings.
I was gonna say, that's all she has anymore. That's big.
But the thing is, and I think this is what you were alluding to earlier, Waffles, is I wanted to get invested. Like the whole idea should be that we should be getting invested with these characters in the main universe, but due to the premise, we're not getting to really know those characters outside of at best flashbacks. When we go to these different dimensions, we're finding basically completely different people who just happen to look like these guys. So you can't get any proper development with these 4 well, let's be honest, 5 characters. when we constantly have to keep introducing new iterations of these characters in every universe, because they're not got the same backgrounds, they don't have the same worldviews, they don't have the same personality traits. So
I want to just add this onto this. I think with every next universe, it gets increasingly harder to give a shit because they give less like characterization and like backstories to each one.
yes,
Like I could not tell you anything about the pirate ones, but I could like say something about the cyberpunk ones, you know. The jungle ones are like in the middle where it's like they do make an attempt, but they also don't for some.
Yeah.
The pirate ones definitely got the least to work with.
Yeah. Coming back to the main universe. Oh, because I do want to come to that because that is a problem, especially with the jungle universe. But I want to come back to that when we get there. When it comes to these 4 characters, I do really want to get to know who these guys are, especially since this is supposed to be like the main motivation for why Sonic wants to get back with them. But the best we get for some of them outside of Tails is like their one line of back and forth during that first interaction with Eggman. So I have no idea about who these characters are, what his relationship is supposed to be to these characters.
I feel like it would have been nice to just have like one episode where the stakes are just low and it's the characters just going about their day or some shit.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, that's just basic storytelling of like establish what the world, like what's the status quo, and then how does it break. But we start at the break, and then we keep flashing back to like a mix of the status quo, you know. So like, there's no, and I really, I mean, this is something I always say about these new Sonic products, and for some reason, only the movies have gotten it right. Sonic games, ever since like Heroes, Shadow, have like stopped having like a connective storyline. Every game is basically a new world. So no, you are not allowed to just tell me, well, you know who Amy is, right? So like you care, right? So who cares? We don't have to spend any time with her. No, because these characters are poorly written in everything they're in, or at least no, not poorly. They're inconsistently written because some of the stuff's good. So like, no, I have no clue who this Amy is. I have no clue who this Knuckles is. I have no clue why. Because if you're supposed to go off like you're a game fan, has never hung out once with any of these characters ever. So why is she here? Why is Big here? You know? So the show for some reason seemed to have this idea of like, oh, if you're like it seemingly had this idea of like, if you're a fan, you know who these characters are, so you already care. So you just want to see Pirate Knuckles. It's like, but no, Sonic characters are notoriously different in everything they're in. So you have to establish who they are.
This especially, like, Big, if anything, is like the biggest misnomer here because he actually seems to have something resembling a brain, which I like, but I wanted to have a better idea about who this character is besides the fact of he can clearly speak in full sentences. I want to know more about him than that.
Yeah.
Especially if he's supposed to be like a linchpin especially if he's supposed to be one of the linchpins for why Sonic is so driven to get everything back normal other than just like clearing his guilt.
Yeah. This show to me embodies what I don't like about current Sonic stuff, which is, whoa, Sonic exists. So that's point one. Now Sonic exists, but in a pirate universe. Point two, Sonic existed somewhere else. Whoa, it's Knuckles. I like Knuckles. Knuckles is a pirate now. This is good. Whoa, it's Shadow, and he is fighting Sonic? What? That has not happened since Game When. Oh my gosh! So, that's what this show feels like, is that Sonic is the only one who's actually a character, and everyone else is just fan service of, you like Tails already? So look, it's Tails. You like Amy? Now she's in a jungle. It's Sonic, guys! That's why I don't like this show. It does not care at all.
Can I nitpick two things in like the start of the show?
Go for it.
Sure.
Why are rings in this?
Yes, really good question. I was wondering that too.
So like
They're
my
only
main
there in the first episode.
They're
Yeah.
from the game.
Like my main. But at first I was willing to just kind of like shrug it off because, you know, like they make like the one joke where it's like, oh, I lost my rings, you know. But they make like an actual appearance and they make another appearance, and then it just kind of leads to the question of, do they actually exist and why and in what matters? Because I've had like issues with Sonic movies where they'll have the rings, but they'll never go into depth about where do they come from? Are they natural? Do people make them? How many does Sonic have on him at a time? Because it seems like they just auto regenerate with each passing like scene, you know?
Yeah.
And in this, I'm asking questions like, okay, do they actually help him? And if so, why aren't they brought back later? Did they forget?
Yeah,
Why were they brought up in the first
I
place?
feel like that's the point to land on because I mean, if you care about that minutia stuff, like that's totally fine. But I do think like a show doesn't really have doesn't have to tell you like those details thing until it's relevant to the story. But the thing that they do make relevant is he says, "I'm going to go collect rings. This is why he's late." You know.
Yeah,
And so then he gets fighting Shadow and he's losing them. So it's like, okay, it functions like the game. I have played the games. But then this never comes back again, and he never loses rings again when he's doing things. This is
so
never
what
like
was the
tension-
point?
This is never like. And here's the thing: that actually could have been very clever because obviously in a show like this, characters taking damage, especially in this kind of kids cartoon, it's kind of more clean and soft. It's kind of harder to depict damage. So if you had actually established the idea of like Sonic collected 20 rings before he goes on this mission, and then he's like, "Oh crap! I got hit by the baby bot and I lost 2 rings. If I lose 18, if I lose all 18, like I'm done for. If I, I'll be really weak and I'll be done for. It'll be permanent if I get killed, or I get hurt. And so then that would be like a ticking clock for the whole show of Sonic only has a certain amount of rings, and then we could actually have stakes to the fight, or like he could try to collect them mid-fight, or he goes to the pirate world and then like he gets beat up and then they fall in the water. He's like, no, my rings. But
Yeah.
all they do is just say Sonic needs to get rings. This is why he is late to the party and his friends hate him forever. And then he breaks the crystal, and then the rings never come back again. So who
Yeah,
cares?
and maybe not the best example, but like the rings could easily be like a kind of like video gamey kind of representation of someone's like shield health bar.
Yeah,
And
well,
like
that's
the
what I mean.
moment
They
that
should have done
like
that.
the moment that's gone, it's like oh shit, Sonic can actually get hurt now. Like
Yeah.
the shield's dropped. Yeah,
That's what they should have done. Is they actually should have had it be. They tell us he has 10 rings, and for the rest of the show, anytime he gets seriously injured, probably from saving people, maybe like a hero, like a cool guy, and then he's losing those rings, and he's like, "Crap, there's no other rings in any of the worlds, for whatever we need it to be." And then that's our tension. That's the thing we're keeping track of. But the way it is, I mean, Sonic's just fighting people and it looks pretty cool.
So this next one's more of like an observation and something more so like connected to the game franchise now. Is Knothole like the new? Is Green Hill the new Knothole now?
Yes.
I don't like
It
that.
has the one loop.
Oh, that loop! I remember that loop.
And the
Remember that
iconic palm tree.
And the iconic
as a symbol
hedgehog's
of
pass. Remember that place?
Don't forget the
pass.
dirt pattern. We got to remember the dirt pattern, even when it's
The dirt
between
pattern.
buildings.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think the palm tree, just as like a general thing of that, is like the funniest. Like, we want a symbol to represent Sonic's friendship. Do we create like a thing that Tails makes? Do we create like something that looks cool? Do we create like memory they all share? No, we have a palm tree on a beach that apparently Sonic and Tails raced up to get a coconut to make a pie. And this is their iconic hashtag sentimental palm tree that appears in every reality as the hope for the future. And it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was like I think there's probably like a good chance to well, actually no, we won't shift just yet. That was actually something I liked when that first showed up in the Cyberpunk universe because it was just meant to be more like
Yeah, that was
hope
really
for
good.
just
Yeah,
general
it
hope
looked
for,
cool
like,
there.
everything getting fixed. But then when it came up in the Jungle universe and they tried making it a whole thing, I'm like, okay, I hated this. So when they bring it back up again in the Cyberpunk universe, I'm like, oh, please just go away. I hate this now.
And then also in the flashback of this is your birthday present. I took you to a tree. And Sonic's like, that's a lame birthday present. I'm like, Sonic, shut up. Don't be mean to your friend. Allow me. Amy, that's a shitty birthday present.
Yeah, I say this could have been not so annoying if it was more subtle, because it lost all the subtlety after Sonic came back from the jungle dimension back into Cyberpunk, and they just rubbed it into your face. Like, look at this. This is a palm tree. We got to see all the versions of the palm tree he's seen before, just to make it clear enough. Yes, guys,
All
this is.
hail
Also,
Green
just
Hill.
a boring-looking palm tree. Like, who
Yeah,
fucking
it's just-
cares?
All
Yeah, like
hail
just like
Green
Sonic
Hill.
said, there's so many other palm trees out there. But like, well, this one is special because they
And
had
this-
picnic underneath once.
Sentimental value is they
That's
made
meant to
it
tie
high.
into the whole other what true friendship means.
They
Being
made a
able
pie.
to recognize symbols.
It's so bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we want to like stop, go, or focus on each like scene, but skipping
Yeah,
ahead a little, Sonic comes across Tails' other universe self, and there's like a little bit of like a scuffle where Tails is like, I don't have any friends. I don't know you. You don't know me. And Sonic's like, you're Tails, my buddy. And then he's like, my name's Nine, and I was actually not helped. I was alone. And I had to build extra tails, and it's like implied that he used these other tails to hide his own, something like that.
Mhm.
And Sonic keeps calling him Tails, 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 but Nine keeps calling himself Nine. And I'm sat here asking, Sonic, Tails has another name. Why don't you call him by miles per hour?
That leads into what I would say is the one of the two things I actively hate about this Sonic is that he's such a fucking idiot when it comes to recognizing that these are not his versions of his friends. Like, fine, you don't want to make him genre savvy enough to know what alternate dimensions are. Fine. I think he can at the very least recognize that whether it's mind control, memory erasing, alternate timeline, alternate dimension, whatever, calling these people by different names is not going to help bond you with it, not going to help them bond with you in any way, especially if that's not their names. So maybe stop doing that. And I was already kind of frustrated when I saw that first clip come out in Sonic Prime, because I'm like, I'm already not wild about someone having to take a whole scene just to recognize that this character is not interacting with the versions of the characters that they're familiar with. But this doesn't last for a scene. This lasts for basically
The whole
3
show.
episodes.
Like,
Yes.
like before this, he says like, this isn't green. This isn't another. This is Green Hill, like something like that. So it's like, okay, Sonic, now you realize that it's like another universe or something, right? But then he keeps like, brain farting, thinking things are the same when they're not, and it's confusing.
Well, and to me, the problem is just simply, especially with that first episode where they had like the 40 minutes. I don't know if you like felt it, but there's like the scene where Tails is trying to explain what Eggman's plan was, which was to make Sonic push him off this cliff and cause this explosion.
Mhm.
They spend a whole scene dissecting this very simple concept, but like they go over it like you would go over if you were explaining, if like we were coming up with an idea for a story and we're like, oh, what if Eggman did this, which then leads to this, and maybe he uses like this kind of weapon or power. Oh, it combined with the speed of Sonic hitting him, yeah, and it would like tie into like this theme and this side. Like that's how they speak. They're just like they explain this whole thing. And like if this were like a normal show, they would just be like, wait a second, it was a setup. Show the shot of like crack or whatever and be like, let's go check that out. But no, they like actually break down the most brain dead plan of all time, and they do that, and they don't just do that for that, they do that for, like you said, every friend he meets. So he has to go, wait a second, they are eating bark and Tails is a dog. This could mean not friend mine. And it's like, Sonic, please do math harder, faster, stronger. I need you to do it. And that's kind of something I felt with the show too, is that it just would extend these scenes forever and ever and ever. And I'm like, guys, you're not that clever. This is not something you need to lean on for 10 minutes. Not 10 minutes, but 2 minutes or whatever. So like you said, he did it once with 9. I feel like going forward, like when they go to the jungle episode, they spend an entire chase scene on Sonic relearning that, wait a second, Amy but with spear, not Amy? No. So
But he still sees her as regular Raymond.
Yeah. Here is my thing.
Oh no! Sorry, I gotta bring this up. So when he sees Amy in the jungle world, and then he like realizes, I can't attack you because you look like my old Amy. His exact quote is, "Oh,
my God.
Amy, I can't smash you."
Oh yes.
Sonic 2022, best quote.
Yeah.
I can't smash you. Yes. But we don't have to go to Jungle World yet. We can go back to the New York City, which I do like.
Yeah.
Name. I think my favorite jokes in the show were actually the stupid titles, where like the episodes would end on like a big like dramatic scene, and it would be like "Up Chuck, yuck yuck," and I'm like, ha ha ha, it's stupid.
Yeah,
So, like I don't know.
I gotta bring this up because I know
Oh,
we're probably
go
gonna
for
be talking about like some of the side characters. Skipping ahead to like the Egg Council. I love Babel. He like literally like there's just a scene where they're all talking about what to do with Sonic. Then Babel goes like "Goo goo gaga," and then the other Eggmans like look at him and they're all like, "Yo, are you sure about that? That's a little too much." It's like
Oh yeah.
energy extractor it is. It's like holy shit, the baby is the most evil of them all. And later on in like
There's
the
a
same
decent joke with that too. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, like later on in the same episode, like a later one, all of like the Eggmans are running through like the corridor, and Babel is just running on all fours like some kind of animal, and he's like the fastest one of all of them. And I'm just like sat here like thinking, holy shit, what kind of monster is this baby gonna grow into? You know?
Yeah, and there was some good jokes with it. Like I liked whenever he pulled out the rattle, and Sonic's like, "A rattle's not going to do anything," but it really was just what it was, which was just a distraction of, "Hey, look at my big stupid rattle," and then he just punches Sonic.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "All right, it's kind of funny."
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as New York City, you want to go into that, guys?
Yeah, let's go into that.
You can tell this is the one they put the most amount of like money and care into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
It's
did
got the most
what did you
background
think of
work
it?
and everything.
Oh,
Crazy, why don't you lead this one this time?
yeah. What do you think?
Mm. I don't think I'm the best one to start with this one, honestly. My head is just empty right now for some reason.
Oh, no problem. I'll start out with positives. I can be positive.
Ooh,
I
go
thought
for it.
the staircase scene was kick-ass. I
Oh
thought,
yeah.
yeah, I thought that whole sequence was actually really dope. And I thought it actually went on for the appropriate amount of time. And I just liked how many cool different ways they thought of to have Sonic and them fight, like riding down,
Okay,
going down different levels, using different body parts,
but
teaching them how to spin dash, But-
Ian Waffles.
Yes.
Did you not catch on to how the robots suddenly stopped going at hyper damage speed the moment like they were spin dashing? Because right after Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, which cute that they're the ones who spin dash because those two do that.
Less cute they didn't do that for the girls.
Amy and
one problem with that
Rouge.
scene.
Amy and Rouge right after take out enemies fine.
Yes.
Like the robots stop going into their hyper crazy damage speed
Because
mode.
the morale of the scene has shifted.
Yeah, that's actually one of the problems that Crazy Elf and I were kind of having while we were watching it. It wasn't as bad of a problem here. It really became an issue in the pirate universe, where how much damage that they could do or how they were winning and losing really were just dependent on the script. There was no like
Yeah.
direct mechanic or proper. I hate the term here, but please give me a better one if you guys can think of it. The power scaling is just kind of bullshit, and everyone and pretty much whoever was winning or losing depending on what was going on for that, what needed to happen for that scene, not because the heroes got a particular strategy or the villains got a particular strategy.
Well, here's the thing. So this will go back into a problem. Good, I didn't have to be positive for too long. So one of the stupid show are the fight scenes, but to me, it's not because of any of the logic behind it. Because if a show just wants to have like a spectacle, crazy nonsense fight, where I already know the outcome, but it just wants to look cool, I'm fine with it. My problem is that they have 3 of these every episode, and they go on forever, and they don't mean anything. And by mean anything, it's just action to have action. And so they're like for every like for the scene where they're falling down the shaft, I agree with you that there's no like reason they should win. But the reason I was okay with that is I don't give a shit about these characters. If you're just gonna show me something cool, that's fine. But it's only cool once. And so there was only like 2 fights in the whole show, 3 fights in the whole show that I was actually like, oh, the directing of that was really cool. Like I was appreciating it on that level of like, oh, that was a cool technique, or oh, okay, that's kind of a cool little shot you did, or oh, that looks pretty cool. But I totally agree with you that if you're trying to get invested from like, how are these characters doing this, then obviously you're not going to have much fun. My problem is that even when I tried to just embrace the idea of like, whatever, it's fucking Sonic, they're just going to fight robots, who fucking cares? All right, fine. If I'm going to do that, then it better look good and be engaging. And most of the time it wasn't. So
Yeah, it looked very flat and slow and clunky, I think.
Yeah,
Not all of them, but a lot of them were, and especially towards like the pirate fights. Oh god.
yeah.
I that one really could have used more time, I think, just to make it more like flashy.
Well, it's not just the fact of like making it look better, because you're right, they could have put a little more effort in that one, but it was more. It's partially what Waffles. It is partially. I do agree with Waffles. Like a lot of the fight scenes weren't really there for either character progression or trying to say anything. With
They were just there for like a cool like moment.
Right. But I also get frustrated, not necessarily with the power scaling, but just for when they would end up bringing, like, how they'd end up bringing them up, or how they end up trying to get them concluded to one point to another. Like, for example, it's really the biggest offender in the pirate arc, where we end up like right when the Chaos Council's robots end up showing up to attack the pirate ship. Sonic, even though we've seen him time and time again be able to beat up all these robots with relative ease, only really struggling with Amy because he sometimes feels the need to pull his punches back, except the times he doesn't. In this fight, he doesn't do. He just kind of sits back and just lets the entire ship get blown up. But then when we end up getting to the end of the episode, where it's like, okay, we got the climax. Now he chooses to fight, go onto the ship, and just wreck all of them. And I'm like, why didn't you do this at the beginning? And he does this a lot throughout the show, where he picks and chooses when he fights and when he doesn't, kind of at random. And I'm just like, huh?
I know I don't say this in the context of the show, but my headcanon for Sonic choosing to fight Rusty Rose finally is he was just that pissed off. Like he got that irritated, like, holy shit, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna fight you now. My patience is wore that thin.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the ultimate point here is the fights. The only thing they can really go, the only thing they ever try to go for is spectacle. They fail on that most of the time, and any other way you could engage with it is obviously also not there. And what that ties into then is this idea of like the whole show just felt vapid to me in terms of like what I was supposed to care about, because obviously the Chaos Council aren't a threat. Like Sonic's never in any danger. And anytime he fights anything, he just fights it and he's fine. He's got infinite stamina, you know? So it's like, sure, if it's going to look cool, it'll look cool, but it doesn't look that cool. And then also what it does is it just means I'm just watching Sonic exist and fight things. But the problem is what he's fighting is also boring. So we don't even, like, it would be one thing if each of the robots had like a cool design or like a cool gimmick, but they all, like, I can't even tell you what the robots look like. That's how boring they look. So yeah, I think that's the big problem, is that the fights really do feel like they're like, crap, we have to do 25 minutes of this shit. And they fight. So yeah.
I have a couple more like notes about like the first couple episodes here. So right. Sonic says no flickies. That's weird. And I saw this like a week earlier when they dropped this on Roblox. And when I heard that line, I immediately got like pissed off because like I'm a Sonic nerd. That's so wrong because he fought the GUN robots, and this takes place in the future. So he's done this. The GUN robots drop Chaos Drives, and then he's fought Eggman robots in like the Egg Pawns, the Egg Fighters from Heroes and Unleashed, and even 06, if you want to consider that canon or not. All of those robots and the other ones don't have flickies inside.
Well, that's, to bounce off that's a weird thing, is that they've said that like this is canon, but it's like clearly not.
Yeah, because there's all these like inconsistencies
an alternate reality,
retcons and shit. It's weird.
This is clearly not like based in the Sonic games or IDW or anything. It's clearly
it's like an alternate version. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just kind of weird. Like that's kind of one of the weird things of like it's for Sonic fans, but it also doesn't build on anything that Sonic fans would know. It also doesn't let you hang out with those characters you would know, and those characters are also very different. But it's like, well, okay, then who's this for?
Another thing I love how in like the Sonic and Shadow fight is like dumb as the build up to it is. I do like how they just bounce off each other like in SA2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
That
thought
is
that
what
was,
happened in
that
the
was one of
game.
the good fights I enjoyed. I thought it was dynamic enough. There was constantly things happening. They had some cool little moves. So that one I thought was fun. It's just like a little small match.
So Ray,
Yes.
I know you're a big Rouge fan. What do you think about Rouge sleeping upside down?
Oh, I thought that was cute.
Yeah, I thought that was cute too. I thought that was the
Yeah.
one time my eyes were not glazed over when she was on screen.
What, you didn't like Rebel?
I don't like reboot Sally.
That's great. That's great. By the way, since you brought it up, and I can just like naturally go off of that, people are actually seething that the Freedom Fighters were not part of the integral cast of that universe.
Well, yeah, because Sega's not going to bring those people back.
I know, but people are still like, guys, it's been like 30 years. Surely this is the time in this Netflix show about alternate universes.
To be fair, they should be a little pissed because in the Netflix description they make an Archie reference or accidentally make an Archie
Maurice.
reference.
Yep.
Yeah, where they
Is
say his
that
middle
actually
name is
true,
Maurice,
or is
which
that
is
actually
really funny.
is that actually true?
Hold on. I'm gonna check that right now because I remember when I saw
Okay.
this when it dropped. I do remember seeing that.
Because I've seen images on Twitter, but I don't know if they're edits because people do be making edits to just troll people, which is kind of funny. I'm not gonna
Which
lie.
is
Okay,
very fun. You should
It's
do
not there now. I will definitely say that it's not there now. I swear I remember
Gotcha.
seeing that when I went to Netflix when I went to Netflix the morning it dropped, but it's not there now.
So
Yeah,
we
the
brought
two-
up Rebel. Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to. Sorry, I tangented. Yeah, tell us about what you think of Rouge, Lobby Ray. She's your girl.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of the concept of Rouge. I've always kind of had a bit of a soft spot for the, I don't want to say bad girl, but more like the snarky kind of mischievous girls with hearts of gold. I've always kind of had a little soft spot for those in particular. I feel like Rouge could be a good fit for that, but more often than not, most retellings that involve her just kind of make her diet Catwoman, which there's an appeal to it, but I have my own issues with that. But so when it comes to here, so in the main universe, she's there. Like
Definitely
she gets
there.
Huh?
She's definitely there.
She's definitely there. But honestly, the only thing I can really say about her in that first arc in the main universe was that she kind of hung up upside down and clearly has, let's be honest, adagio energy, which does fit her. But then when we end up getting to the other universes, starting with Rebel, I don't know if I would necessarily say she's reboot Sally, but I will definitely say out of the.
I was joking. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I was joking. But yeah, she's
Yeah.
definitely just a leader.
Yeah, she's just there. Yeah, she's just the leader and kind of has more serious moments. Like that was something I was kind of finding a little bit. I was kind of finding a bit frustrating a bit because when it comes to each of the different interpretations of these characters, which honestly should be considered their own characters, besides one character that we're about to get to in a second, the only version of Rouge that I genuinely liked was the pirate one, but that was only because she showed enough energy to just like, oh yeah, we're getting challenged by all these robots. Let's come up with different ways we can kill them. I'm like, I respect that energy. Good on you. That's good pirate energy. I like that. But
Yeah, meanwhile, in Cyberpunk universe, she's like serious good guy leader, and
Yes.
then in the jungle world, she's serious evil good like leader.
yes. And I'm like, there are definitely takes on our character, but but it doesn't really give me any insight to who she is or
I think-
nor the interesting characters in their own right.
Yeah.
I think Big would have been way more funnier in like the jungle universe to be the leader there. That would have been a good, unique direction.
Yeah, because that's kind of the sad
Just
part.
this, just this big purple cat swinging from like rope to rope, and all the rest of like the cast is like following him.
Yeah, and the sad part is Big doesn't really get that much to do. Like he gets a couple of meme moments there, especially in the jungle universe, but also a little bit in the Cyberpunk universe. And it would have been kind of nice to give him like a proper leading moment. I hope they do that in the next seasons. Especially
I forgot he was even in the pirate one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Just there.
I actually, when I was looking at the wiki, I didn't even know he was going to be there. I actually thought he wasn't even going to be there, but no, he's just mute the entire time. So we're looking to but when it comes to Rouge in particular, I do kind of wish they would have given her a little bit more to do to stand out, especially when it comes to Rebel in particular. But
I'll give Rebel this, and I guess by extension Nux. Whereas like in mainline canon, I find Rouge and Knuckles to be kind of uncomfortable as a dynamic, since it's usually just Rouge bullying Knuckles, and Knuckles just kind of accepting it because he doesn't have much to like come back with. It kind of feels like Rebel and Nux have some kind of platonic relationship in this that doesn't irk me so much. Dare say better than mainline? Whoa. What do you think? Oh, and Crazy's gone.
Crazy. Sorry, guys. Crazy. I've had to call it a night for right now. She's a little tired. It's 5 a.m. her time.
What do you think of Rebel and Nux? Do you think they work better than mainline Rouge and Knuckles?
I mean, how do I put this? They don't spend the entire time being passive aggressive towards each other, so that is a plus.
I'll put it this way: it took me a moment to even consider who you were talking about. So no. Yeah, that's my. I mean, I guess if we want, do we want to talk about before we leave the cyber world? Do we want to talk about 9 because he's kind of the last thing there? Because like Knuckles would make more sense to talk about in obviously Pirate World and then Alien Jungle World.
Yeah.
9. So I want to talk about
Sonic and 9 might actually be the one thing in this entire show that I think I consistently enjoyed. And I would dare say it might be the best thing in the whole show. Just seeing like Sonic and 9's relationship develop.
Mm-hmm.
And hot take, I think this might have even been better than the fucking Sonic Movie 2 relationship.
Well, there you go.
They actually tried.
You know
what do you think, Lager?
I'm actually gonna have to agree with them a little bit on this. At the bare minimum, I think it's just at the bare minimum. I do think it's at least just as good. Because 9 actually does have something of a bit of a character conflict here, and instead of his whole thing just being again about how he needs to gain confidence, it's really more about him not being more willing to connect with and helping to defend others, which I think is a better use of your tales, and honestly probably the most characterization he's gotten probably since X.
Probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think 9 is the best part of the show. I think that what makes him good is, and this is what I thought they were gonna do with all the characters, is that okay, you don't want to recap all the different characters. So instead, what you're going to do is you're going to have Sonic meet these other versions, and then we are going to learn about his old friends by him telling them about it. And then these new characters basically get to learn more about themselves and connect themselves through Sonic by seeing a different perspective on life of what they could be, and that changes them. So that's why 9 is interesting, because he isn't just, I am Pirate Knuckles, and I have like, shut the fuck up. I am and Jungle Amy, and my back, shut the fuck up, go away. Yeah. 9 is a completely separate character who then comes into contact with Sonic, and then his journey, the middle ground, is that he liked hearing about a world where he had friends, and he's like, well, maybe if Sonic he seems so into it, maybe he will be my friend. Maybe I could live somewhere where I'm not alone. And like, I like the way they showed, here's what your backstory is, 9. And he's like, no, dude, this is what my backstory is. And then you have that nice little moment where he's being passive aggressive. And then he sits down and he's like, so what else did we do? It's like, oh, he wants to hear about it. He wants to know, like, who's this other me who is happy? And then he hears about it. And he's like, oh, you have this really cool plane, all this kind of stuff. And so then that inspires 9 to want to, like, he's like ride or die for Sonic, even when he disagrees with Sonic, and he's trying to create this new world where he can start over and be with Sonic. My hope would be that he is the final antagonist. He doesn't have to be evil, but I think this kind of idea, like, let's create a new world where we can be, it screams very much like I'm going to remake the universe vibes. So I hope they go with that, and I hope that this Tails can find his own way. But the reason that works is because, again, it's tied into things that make sense, Sonic would care about, and to a thing that Sonic is trying to save, which is this other reality. But with all the other characters, he's just like, you remind me of Amy. Amy's really nice, and you're not very nice. That's weird. And then they don't do anything with it. With Knuckles, it's like, whoa, you're Knuckles, and I fucking hate Knuckles. I guess because every time Sonic brings up Knuckles, he's like, ha, except Knuckles, ha, Knuckles, dumm. I'm like, what did Knuckles do to you?
It's strange. It's like something happened like right before the show for Sonic to just hate him.
Yeah,
Because it's weird. Because for the past 20 years, like Sonic and Knuckles have been like buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is he suddenly like got a Knuckles phobia going on?
Yeah, but then this comes to my main point of like, here's how you instantly fix the show, and what I thought they were gonna do, which is that Sonic shatters the multiverse, and all of his other friends seemingly get attached to it as well. So what I thought was that he is going to go to each of these worlds, and one of his friends will be there with a new memory. They think they have lived here, and Sonic. And the fun part would be learning which one of these characters is Sonic's friend. And then he has to, through his connections with them, bring out that different side of them. And then if they were clever writers, they could, or like you wanted to go above and beyond, they could tie that into what is this new reality version of the character going through? How does that tie into the old reality? How does these things come together, which allows Sonic to get his friend back, but then resolve the episodic plot lines? And then what you could do is, if you want to keep this multiverse idea, what if that Knuckles really is our Knuckles? He has this different memory of his life. And then Sonic's like, oh, that kind of reminds me of this thing Knuckles was doing. So now I'm going to try to help him that goal, because in our reality, he had me to do that. In this reality, he's a loner or whatever. And then I'm going to bring that out of him. And then he remembers himself. But now Knuckles goes with Sonic on the quest, but he also has all his pirate skills, and he keeps the pirate outfit. They grab Amy. That's the Amy from that. And it's like, oh, this is really Amy. Like, her desire to protect nature and protect little animals, her little birdie, has turned into this version of her. And so by helping her through that, and by Sonic being there, that would allow her to remember her life, and then she would come with him. And then boom, we collect characters. And then, hey, maybe Dr. Eggman would be the character in the New York City, because the idea is that he won. So maybe we should do that. We should show him being there. And how cool would it be if he showed up and he's like, ha ha ha, Sonic. It's like, oh, Eggman, I knew it was your fault. It's like, oh, no, you haven't met the family. And then it's like, wow, Eggman created this world with all these Robotniks.
No, I think Eggman is there. I think Eggman is there. He's like the middle one.
I don't think. I think that's a different guy. Like they all are.
I think it is. Is it not?
No, they're all meant to be Eggman.
No, what I mean is, like, he's not like Eggman from our Prime universe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's an alternate, like, there's the emo Eggman, that kind of thing. The middle one is like some, snooty jerk guy. But yeah, that was always the thing. I'm like, why would you not connect the characters that we're trying to find to these worlds? Instead, what you're doing is you're literally giving me fake filler characters that don't matter. Who are you people?
And questions like arise when you consider like the current state of like the canon, and it's like, okay, well, why do these characters know each other, or how do they know each other, and what were their pasts like? Because then I start to ask questions like, and I know this is going to be like one of those, don't you dare, but it's worth asking, why isn't Knuckles on the Angel Island defending the Master Emerald?
No, that's a really good question here, because now with Frontiers,
it's part of the law.
Between Frontiers and IDW that went out of their way to try to put him back on Angel Island, even though all the games prior never worried about it. Now we're back with Prime, where Angel Island isn't really a factor. So that brings up the question of why, is that supposed to be a thing? Is that supposed to be something important, or is it not?
And here's the thing. Like, so like in Heroes. In Heroes, they don't bring up Angel Island or the Master Emerald. At least I don't think they do, unless there's like a one-off line in the game, in which, my bad. But this show didn't seem to do that up until the Pirate arc, where they bring attention to the fact that Knuckles is a Guardian. And oh, what's that in the scene? It's the Master Emerald.
Yeah,
that's his thing.
A flashback of it. So
I could forgive it if they wanted to pretend none of that shit matters. But then they brought attention to it, and now questions arise.
Yeah, and what it really falls down to is, who are you people? You
Yeah.
can't just tell me these are the game characters. You're a liar. Like they're not. So who are these people, and why should I care?
It would have been interesting to see them like
Yeah.
recontextualize these characters in a new like world. Like, what if I know this is probably like going off the deep end, but like, what if like Knuckles in the pirate world, you like the Echidna clan was actually a group of pirates, and the Master Emerald floating island, Angel Island, was a giant pirate ship that got sunken down because another pirate ship invaded and took the Master Emerald, and all the echidnas died except for Knuckles. Like, boom, that's an origin and a
Right,
way to
and
like recontextualize the character. It's like this new setting, right?
And here's the thing: I don't even think you need to go that deep. If you're going like it's something similar that I've seen like with other movies that tend to like recast act that have actors play multiple roles within a show. It's usually meant, or in a movie, they usually do it to try to make sure that you think about or tie these characters together in their association. But the problem is the tying the character, like there's no connection between like Nine, Feral and Sales, other than the fact they're all yellow, they're all two-tailed yellow foxes. So if we're not going to do anything to try to tie these back to Miles, what's the point of even having Tails come up over and over, again with these three versions, other than just showing, hey, there are different alternate universes? It'd be fine if this was meant to do anything for Sonic's character, but all Sonic does is spend a good chunk of time complaining, still trying to force them into thinking and to force them into acting like his
No,
previous version of the
no,
friends.
you're not a dog. You're Tails.
Right.
Start acting like it.
Yeah, like
And then-
I mean, one of the fun things about Archie is they have like the 25 years later, and it's like, oh, what if Sonic actually like did settle down and he's just chilling and being a dad or whatever, and he acts very similar to how he would. So what it does is it allows you to explore that side of Sonic without having to actually make Sonic settle down and be a dad in the main story. Or
Right.
you have Dark Enerjack, which is supposed to be like, what if Knuckles wasn't saved and got consumed by the power or whatever, and then how would he treat his family? How would he do these things? And so you get to associate that with Knuckles in a sense of like, oh, this is what that power could have corrupted in him too. But in these other worlds, there's nothing similar between anything, and there's no exploring anything. It's just, hey, there's a pirate guy who has a completely different personality, backstory, everything, but also he looks like Knuckles.
Right. Well, okay. Little small caveat. I think Nine is the only one who I kind of make an exception for.
Oh, Nine is good.
for that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
But
Nine is,
everyone
like,
else, no,
the
that
best
doesn't
one.
tie for it. Like, oh, what if Amy was a robot? Okay. Like, even ignoring the fact that takes away all of her free will and decisions in order to get her to that in the first place. What does that contrast for original character really mean anything other than just you made the cute girl a robot? Like, what? There's nowhere really to go with that. What if you made Rouge a leader of a rebel army? Okay, now you just have a completely different character, but that doesn't really contrast much other than just showing that she has tied herself down to something, but you're not really doing anything to explore how this makes her character different from the previous version, because out of all five of these characters that end up getting multiple versions of themselves, Rouge is the most ambiguous because Rouge has gotten the least amount of characterization throughout the entire franchise. So seeing her just get these different versions of herself, while I'm glad she's in the cast, it doesn't really mean anything for her.
This might not even be like an actual thing, but it's just like a thing that irks me on like a personal level, because I don't like how in canon we don't know like how the characters grew up or like all that shit. Like, what were their families like? How did they grow up? Instead, they're all like orphans that seem to like materialize at the age of 8 to 18 out of nowhere. And that same thing kind of applies to the pirate and the jungle and the cyberpunk world. And for the cyberpunk world, I can kind of like just ignore it because, oh, maybe they all got captured by Eggman and maybe they died or some shit. But then like the jungle world and the pirate world, I'm asking questions like, okay, how did you end up here and with these guys? Like, we were all dropped off at these specific locales. I don't know.
Well, and I think what that speaks to though is that, because I think some people, because like for me, I don't care about that stuff, but I could see some people being like, why do you care? Just like get invested in the characters. But I think that's the problem, is that I always talk about this. Tiny little nitpicks or like questions like that wouldn't come to you if you were actually engaged.
Yeah, no, probably
Yeah.
because I
If
think
you-
in the context of the
Mhm.
story, I'm supposed to just go along with it because like, oh, they're all buddies and they stick together, and it's like
Yeah,
I
and
don't.
because your mind is numb and you don't give a shit, you're like, wait, why are they friends? Who's bad?
Yeah.
Knuckles like take a shower? Wait, why do girls only wear clothes in Sonic? Like, you,
Oh wait,
who
yeah,
cares?
they
cares
bring
about what
attention to Big wearing pants.
Yeah, so it's like because like there's nothing to get invested in with any of these characters. There's just like, yeah, you're just sitting there like, what? Why is the sky blue in Sonic? I don't understand. The ocean's oil. So, but yeah,
Or even more so, why is Sonic trying to make a bunch of abuse victims apologize to their abuser? And I think this is a good chance to shift over to the Jungle universe for if you guys are up for it.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start with this one. Okay, so up until episode 3, my biggest complaint was how dumb they were making how dumb they were making Sonic. If they had trimmed down the number of, hey, you're my other friend, right? It's like, no, we're not. If they just cut that down and just left it all in episode 1, we just moved past that because I got tired so quickly. I honestly would have been fine with most. I would have been at the very least okay, or at the very least willing to roll with the other issues that we've been seeing in the first 3 episodes. Then the Jungle arc happened, and I hate everything that happens in it. Like, no one in that universe comes out. No one in that universe comes out looking good.
Yeah,
My
that
co-
one was
my-
amazingly bad. Like that
Yes.
one gave me pure like IDW's Frontier Sonic vibes. I was like, no, we're here again. Stop.
What's really sad is I really wanted to like the jungle Amy in this because my first thought went to like, oh, this is like an ancient caveman world and there must be like no laws and shit like that. It's like Sonic's all about freedom. Shouldn't like a caveman Amy who's all about like that freedom be like the perfect match for her? I'm not a Son Amy shipper, but that could be a neat concept to explore. And they kind of don't do that because they do something else. And I thought it was interesting where they went, but I sure don't think they stuck the landing later on with how they resolve the whole thing.
Yeah, I thought it was super, super emotionally resonant when we got the flashback of like, all right, so one day we were picking berries, and then Amy just like went bonkers shit crazy and tried to murder all of us and never explained why. And it's like, okay, so that was their Sonic Adventure cutscene.
She just went
When we-
angry mode.
When we get to Amy's Sonic Adventure cutscene and we get her side of the story, we'll get some more context. And the context is she saw them eating a lot of berries, and she's like, damn, like the trees are hurting, man. The 4 people who live in this universe, like the world's just gonna end at this point. And so she went up to them and she's like, hey, stop eating berries. And they're like, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat berries. And then she decided to kill all of them. Oh, it makes sense. I understand. She made her point very well.
I know it's cartoon logic. They don't say kill, but like my god, like later on they straight up imply like the world would be better off without them, like something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah, and I'm like, guys, if you were friends, well, you definitely weren't good at communicating, for one. And 2, Amy just is in the wrong because you guys clearly didn't understand what she was getting at, and then she tried to murder you and never stopped. So, like, I'm sorry. There is no we're gonna be friends.
Yeah, and then
I also have like just a random like question about this whole setting.
true.
Why do they need to like stay here? Like why do the people need to stay in a specific area of the jungle? Like why can't they just run away?
Because there are only
Because-
4 people in this world.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. Like I noticed that with the exception of the jungle world, they have like these NPC models. The jungle world is the only one where they don't. It's literally like the core cast, and it's so like void of like an actual setting. It's just the jungle seems to be taking over the whole Earth from what they show,
mhm.
and
Or-
it's so like uninspired and bland.
Yeah.
Like,
What
I
were-
was-
what were- Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can finish. And I was gonna let Lav go, but yeah, you can finish.
I was kind of hoping that like these next settings would like introduce like a new thing to shake things up. I was kind of hoping, okay, so Eggman's not in the plant world and he's not in the ocean world. The characters even say robots. What are those? I was kind of hoping as like an interesting change of stuff that happens that maybe the jungle world had plant monsters. Like, holy shit, that's new for the Sonic franchise. That's a way to make this universe feel different. Maybe like the plant monsters growing is like a side effect of the crystal or some shit. I don't know. You can figure it out. And then maybe like with the pirate world, because of like the ocean seemingly taking over like 90% of the earth, like Green Hill has been sunken or something. That's what they show, I think. Like, what if there were sea monsters? That'd be cool. And you got like a sea monster fight or something instead of the robots again. But they don't.
Here we get Jungle Amy as the main villain.
Yeah, Jungle Amy, who sees a shiny rock and puts it on a hammer and knows that will do things.
It'll summon more trees, so we can create more plant life for everything to thrive, for plants to thrive. Even though if you create more plant life, they're going to start taking resources from each other, and they're all just going to end up dying.
Big brain.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine she doesn't know that, but at the same time, it's like,
that's
what do you think
that's
making more trees will do? You're just gonna create more life that dies. I don't know what your plan is. Can you tell me what your plan is in depth?
Right, but the funny part is she does end up realizing this for the ending of the episode, which honestly I kind of have to call bull, because I was calling this out before. If all the trees are grown so tall and are so wide out that they're blocking all the sunlight, then everything below the tree should be dead, because plants need sunlight to thrive. So as much as they did try making like the palm tree the representation of that, all the grass and plant life underneath should have been dead, but they don't show that. Should have been dead way before the palm tree was, but they decided to make sure all that was still green and living, so we can have that twist. But I'm like, no, this should have been ruined beforehand. And I know this still qualifies to what you were saying before, Waffles, where it's like, if I was properly invested with this, I'd be willing to let it go.
If you liked the tree symbolism, you wouldn't care. But
right.
Yeah.
Or if I was invested with the story in anything else, I would be more willing to give it a pass. But nothing else is working here, so I can't even give it credit for the twist that I wasn't even expecting for them to go with, but I was still calling it out.
Yeah.
I failed to mention this earlier, but I just want to bring it up since we're on the topic of trees. They like refer to Green Hill Zone, and I mean like prime baseline regular Green Hill Zone as a forest. No, it's not. It's not a forest. I don't know if that was like a early draft like line that they forgot to remove, but Green Hill is far from a forest. Jungle One maybe, but they did not use that line in that context of the setting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what were you gonna say, Lavi Ray?
And then we get to then we just get all to the character stuff, where all these scavengers. I mean, the only thing that really sticks out about them is Knuckles, and that's just him going full sticks. Feral, I guess, is an interesting take, but it's still just kind of the same thing of like, what if Tails is this other random thing that doesn't connect to his character that much, that you can't really build on with his character that much.
Yeah, know Tails. You'll buy the action figure, the Funko Pop.
And then we got.
I can't wait to buy Rouge Funko Pop of her pirate design. For such iconic characters.
You said then we have Big.
Oh, at least Big got like a couple of meme moments here and there, like him with the little slingshot, and a couple of faces here and there. But
he was packing heat in the Cyberpunk world. That was great.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. But yeah, no, a lot of the characters here are just kind of awful, and then we just get to Amy, who I would honestly argue is the worst character in this is as of right now the worst character in the show. And what's even worse is Sonic is still trying to connect her with Amy in some way, even though she's not really that in common with her at all, other than the fact of she's the same species and has the same hair, same species and the same color. So when it comes to and the whole conflict that they try framing around when it comes to the tree, that if anything should have been a proper character conflict for Amy, instead of that trying to be like Sonic isn't valuing friendship that much. It should be no, Amy's trying to, even though her heart's in the right place, she's trying to force Sonic to meet her vision of what friendship is instead of just trying to meet him where he is, which is what you're
I
supposed to
don't-
do when you're supposed to be empathetic and giving
I
gifts.
don't know why that's Sonic's like little arc when he's consistently caring about people. Like he even says to Tails, like, "Oh, I can't do this, Tails, because I gotta go back to save people." And even later on, I guess when we get to the shadow scene, like he's been spending all his time just kind of helping people and shit,
Mhm.
and you know, plot dump reveal thing happens. It's like, no, he's consistently stopped along the way just to help people. Sure, he wants to go home, but he's just been helping out people. Even Rouge of the Jungle World, I don't know what her name is. I don't give enough of a shit. She's like, "Oh, we need berries," and then Sonic's like, "Okay, I'll help you out get berries, and I will also be helped in return, because I don't mind." Yeah, I don't know why Sonic not caring is the plot when he's consistently cared.
He,
It's
he
a
seems
weird.
to care a lot.
Well,
It's
that's
a
the
weird
thing. All the character
inconsistency, I
arcs are
think.
kind of bullshit in this show. Like not only do we have this whole like he needs to listen to his friends, even though his friends aren't telling him anything for him to listen to, or we have at the end of the Cyberpunk universe, at the end of episode 3, where his whole thing's like, I'm responsible for all this. I need to do what I can to fix this because I need to do what I can to fix this and redeem myself, which is the whole thing they try setting up beforehand. But I'm like, this isn't an arc of redemption. This is just you cleaning up a mess that you're like 20% responsible for. So
Yeah, like you
like,
made a genuine mistake.
yeah,
It's
fix
worth
it, let's
noting.
move on. There's nothing for him to learn from that. It's not even like he made that mistake out of like a genuine character flaw. He ultimately just like underestimated
Instead
the
of hitting
consequences of his
Eggman, he hit the rock.
right.
Like,
Next time, hit Eggman. That's really all you gotta learn from that.
yeah, next time, don't risk doing that. Learn from that and just hit Eggman instead. Yeah,
It's worth noting that my notes started to become less and less as we left the Cyberpunk world.
yeah. Well, real quick, just I don't know if we're done with Jungle World, but I wanted to at least say that I just don't understand with Sonic this idea of like what makes Sonic enjoyable is just that he is generally nice in quotations. Like he just wants people to be friends and love friends and like make up and love friends. Like regardless of if like they should like forgive Amy or whatever. Let's say like there was actually like a misunderstanding and like both sides are in the wrong and they could grow and learn. Let's say that was all like perfectly handled. I just don't know why Sonic doing that would make me like him. Is it just that like I feel like a lot of times with a lot of things that I see nowadays, but it seems this way a lot in Sonic, is like we don't go for like a human element anymore. The human element is just wow, someone being good, crazy.
You mean like a little bit of like a flawed?
I don't even need
like
them
a
to be
flawed.
flawed. I just mean like just something as basic as hey, like I don't love Sad AM, like it's like a 6 or whatever. But like the very like you understand why Sonic would want to save the world from the very simple idea of that is his house. And an evil monster took it away and turned his dog into a robot. That's in the first episode. They go to Robotropolis and they find his dog, and it's a robot dog. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's Mutsky." And then and he like Mutsky actually like they actually pull the idea of like, oh, like he's still in there. And Tails is like, "No, Sonic, he's not in there." And he's like, "No, he's my dog. He's still in there." And Mutsky actually does break his control for a sec. He's like, "That's my boy." And so it's like, oh wow, like this is what Sonic cares about, and like his love for his dog actually got through. Oh, maybe there's hope for these robots. That's a cool idea. But then after things go a little south, his dog turns back into a robot. He's like, "I'm going to save you, Mutsky." It's not his mom. It's not his dad. It's not Uncle Chuck. It's not anything crazy. Just the idea of a boy wants to protect his dog. And we see that his love for his dog actually worked just a bit. But there's that tragedy element that he's still a robot, and Robotnik's control is keeping Sonic from his pet that he loves so much. Boom! That's all I need. Why does Sonic want to save his friends? Because he likes them? Why? What does he like about them? Has he ever had a single moment where he
Definitely doesn't like Knuckles.
Yeah, and the only character that I will give them credit for is Tails, because they did have a moment where he was like, Tails, I'm really sorry. Hey, you want some comic books? Like, are we cool? And I think the problem with that scene is that Tails is like, it's fine, whatever. Like, who cares? But
Yeah.
if Tails had actually had a moment with Sonic there, no matter how like maybe melodramatic that would have, like, I think the context was, that did give me, that at least allowed the 9 scene to be impactful, because when he was trying to reach out to 9, I understood why, because I get he likes Tails. You know how I know this? Because he went out of his way to try to apologize and make amends as soon as possible. Cool.
Yeah.
So that's what this show is just missing, and what I feel like a lot of these stories are missing. Just give me a reason why that goes beyond, and you like being nice to people is generally good, so you would like Sonic because he is nice. There are no other stories that exist that are interesting or engaging. Only Sonic, and he is nice. This is all you can do with a nice character, is they are nice. Who fucking cares? So
Yeah.
so
I'm shocked. I'm shocked 9 became basically my favorite character out of this whole thing, because I've consistently like memed with Lav about how like, oh, fan creators will just make everyone edgy, and Tails is like this over serious, moody little shit that's a complete polar opposite from canon, and it's like the most cringy, like self-insert kind of thing done. But then in this, it's like, holy shit, they made like a moody, mature alternate universe Tails that would actually worked, and he might just be. No, he is actually like the best part of the whole show.
Yeah.
I just find it incredible, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And to build on what you were saying before, Waffles, like that's what makes like him trying to reach out to the other 4 come off so weak. Because while we got like one scene with Big where he was like, "Hey, Big, sorry about that, gotta go help my friends," we never really get established on like what is the relationship like. Why does he like have such like buddy boy relationship with Big? And it's never. And so the only thing I can really get when he's like, "I want to get my friends back," like with Big, I don't think get on the database level of just basic empathy, not because he has like any type of proper relationship with them anyway. And just to circle this back to Rouge, I actually find her to be the most frustrating of frustrating of the other of all of them, because at least the other 4 you can kind of rely a little bit on canon, on other parts of the canon for seeing how the relationship was established or what's supposed to be interesting about them. Sonic has spent maybe like 3 pages in Archie actually having a decent conversation with Rouge. He has not had any proper type of any time to actually establish a relationship with her. So when it comes to this, I'm like, what? Like, I'm glad she's in the cast, but could you at least establish what the relationship is?
I cannot think of a single scene between Sonic and Rouge in like mainline canon outside of like the one line in Sonic Generations.
That's
like
it. The games, that's it.
Like, is it Waffles? Do you recall any other scenes between Sonic and Rouge in canon?
No, they don't have anything.
No.
Yeah, so,
And again, the
so
only
why-
thing they, the
tell-
only thing,
yeah,
the
tell
only
me-
thing they, yeah, I was gonna say the only thing they even have in Archie is that in the SA2 flashback, he like flirts with her a bit, and they like team up, and he's like, "Hey, girl, want to go save the day?" She's like, "Oh, you charm her," and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cute." And then every time they meet up again, it's just mostly just like they're just like, "Oh, hey, Sonic, hey, Rouge, what's up?" Like they know each other. Like it's barely anything. Like because Rouge is doing
tell me what Sonic and Rouge's dynamic is, and I don't mean it in a romantic way. I mean it like on a platonical friendship level. Give me that much. What's Tails' connection to Rouge? What's Big's? What especially Big's? What is Big's dynamic with Rouge?
Yeah,
and this is my biggest hesitancy about Prime on the whole, is that it was going to spend more time having Sonic bounce off of all these different interpretations of these characters that are all at the end of the day different people, not the original characters that we're dealing with. So Sonic's the one who's going to get decent character development, and the other 4 are just going to have to wait in the wings until this whole premise is wrapped up.
Do you have anything more to add on the whole jungle stuff? Because I don't. I genuinely don't.
The conflict with Amy was stupid. The plant thing really didn't make it. I had problems with how the plant thing ultimately worked, and yeah, it was way too barren for what they were ultimately trying to go for. It should have been at least a proper. I think they didn't want to do a proper village because they couldn't come up with a way for why Amy would be able to chase these people. Would be able to chase people off like this so much. But I think if it was both a proper village and Amy was able to summon like other herbivore animals and maybe she started
Would
lashing
have been
out.
cool to have like a tree house, not just a tree, like tree
Yeah.
house.
Yeah,
Oh, I,
but honestly,
I do have
think
one
that
thing
entire-
about it. I do have one more thing about it, which is
Dude.
that so this is where like if you're a Sonic fan or even if you're like a casual, like what does this even mean? Which is Birdie. So she has this bird in each of the realities. So in like
Yeah.
the original one, she just has a little bird friend. In the robot version, the bird is in the chest of the robot version. And then obviously in like the jungle one, it's like giant. All right, this bird, as far as I can tell, is actually Gamma's bird from SA1.
Mhm.
It's the Flicky, it's the pink Flicky, which I think was
Mhm.
Gamma's Flicky. Now, I'm not saying you have to explain that. Oh, does this mean Gamma? Blah blah blah. What I'm saying is that if you're a Sonic fan and you're like, who the fuck is Birdie? Like who is this? And then you look at it, you're like, well, Birdie's blue, like in SA2 or in SA1, like the bird that she finds and calls Birdie is blue.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, this isn't Birdie. And then it's like, okay, well, is it what bird was? It's like, wait, that was Gamma's bird. Okay, well, that's weird. But okay, it's okay, whatever. It's a new thing. It's a pink. They probably saw it was blue and they were like, yeah, but she's pink, so let's make it pink. Fine. So it's a pink bird. What? Sonic gets like really mad when he sees like the bird is like in Amy and like powering her. It's like, oh, holy shit, now it's real. And I'm like, why? Do you know this bird? And then we have the flashbacks like, oh, that bird is there. And then the bird is the giant bird. And this is just an example of like doing the bare minimum, which is they gave Amy a bird, showed no dynamic with it in the main timeline or in the main universe. And then it's like her comrade in the jungle universe. Well, first then they try to pull at your heartstrings with like, it's the little bird inside Amy. It's her bird. But it's like, does she have a bird? I didn't even remember that until I saw it. And then you get to the jungle world and it's a big bird and it's just her friend. So it's like, there's nothing. Who cares? She just has a bird.
It kind of
like,
seems.
Why wouldn't you do anything with it? Why would you not do anything with that?
It kind of
Yeah.
seems like the bird is like consistently like been weirdly used. In Archie, it looks like the bird's green from what I've just searched up. And in like Sonic Adventure 1, instead of Birdie, the blue bird from Gamma, collecting like the last emerald for Sonic, it's like a pink random bird. Maybe they made a maybe they made an error. I don't know. Maybe just thought
No,
the pink.
that's what
bird
I'm
would
saying
be
is
cute.
that Birdie in SA1 is a blue bird. He has a Chaos Emerald blue.
Yeah.
And the pink bird, I think, is Gamma. Like, is the one that pops out of Gamma. And so that's just what I'm saying. If you're a Sonic fan, then, like, am I supposed to be like, that's Gamma? Like, what am I supposed to take from this? So, but if you're not
okay.
a fan, then you're just like, I guess Amy has a bird. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it doesn't
I
work
will
like-
say, I will say, even though it is kind of like flat, I do enjoy just like the concept of using like this bird in like unique ways, even if they don't really do anything with it besides like
I was
the
gonna
surface
say, well, that's
level.
what I mean. I wish they
Yeah, it's the
did do
surface
things with
level.
it. Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool, the Flicky is inside of Amy powering up. I assume that's cool. That's dark. That's cool. They never bring it back up again after that one scene. It would be neat to see Sonic question the morality of that later on, where it's like, hey, Tails, sorry, 9, can you like figure out a way to save Amy because she's got a bird inside of her, and I want her to be normal and not be harming an animal inside of her right now, you know? Like a scene
Mhm.
like that. Or at least a line of dialogue questioning the whole fucked up situation about that. And then in the jungle scene, we get the bird that apparently can't fly. I don't know what the.
Well, she
I
said
don't
that.
know.
Well, it was more that she kept her from flying because they were under the canopy.
Okay.
That's like the big moment where it's like you can be free to fly around, and so she leaves or whatever.
Yeah,
I
they did
do-
not set that up well because I swear I remember that bird like jump, at least being able to like jump up.
Yeah, that
and
I thought
survive
it had
through
already
stuff.
flown.
Yeah,
so I was
yeah.
confused.
I was confused. Yeah. But I do find it cool that the bird is so giant, even if it's barely used in the jungle thing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up. I do like how they use that thing, even if it was in surface level concepts.
Yeah.
But all right,
But I do
Pirate
wish
World.
they did. I do wish they didn't like try to make everything so complicated at the beginning. So instead of like constantly having to flashback to the main universe over and over again, just have the first episode be the main universe that's establishing all this stuff, and then we end up moving into it later. Especially having like the first, especially in the Cyberpunk universe, where we show everything that we set up in episode 1 being perverted. like with how all these episodes end up ending, they're clearly expecting you to watch this all in one go, or at the very least be addicted enough to want to see what happens next. So you might as well, you don't need to constantly remind us over and over again what happened in the first episode. Just establish it in the first episode.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But Pirate World, right?
Yeah, that's what I get to. I'm gonna be honest here. Please feel free to disagree with me.
Please.
This is the best universe of the three. Or at the very least, I had the most fun with this one out of the three.
I
hmm?
did not care for most of this
Mhm.
outside of Knuckles for a minute. But I just want to start off by saying how convenient for Sonic to fall on this random specific like island of like sand and a little piece of Green Hill iconography, where it also just so happens to have, correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, Tails, oh, sorry, whatever Amy is, Sails, and not Knuckles, but Rouge,
Yes.
and also a little rowboat nearby. How convenient.
Well, yeah.
How
That's the
convenient.
premise
Sure.
of each world is that he winds up near his friends. But I get what you mean.
Yeah.
No, I will agree. I think Pirate World has the most moment-to-moment enjoyment. I don't think it's
Mhm.
much, but I will say, like, I love all their stupid names, like Sails, and like one of them was like Wings or something. I don't know. They had like stupid pirate names. I thought was kind of funny.
They call big catfish, which I
Yeah,
thought was
Catfish,
mildly
yeah,
amusing.
stuff like that's fine. I like Sonic's hover boots, although I don't understand how he. I mean, it's because it's separated by 2 episodes, Ian. Duh, and the stupid children have 10-second brain cells, so they can't remember. But he falls into the water and he gets hover boots, and he's like, "Oh shit, I have hover boots." And then literally in the next episode, Knuckles is like, "You're gonna run on the water and move the boat," and he's like, "No, I can't swim." And then he lands and he goes, "Oh, hover boots." And I'm like, "You mean oh hover boots?"
While we're on the topic of that, I do like the design of the new shoes. I do like that they actually got creative and innovated with every new universe and gave
Yep.
like Sonic a bit of an outfit swap. Nothing too drastic. It's just like the gloves and the shoes. I
Mhm.
do find it cool how in the Cyberpunk world it's just the same, just cool. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Then in the jungle world, he's got like claws. I don't think he uses them that much there. Unless I know
He
there's
digs,
the one.
he
There's
digs
the
up
one
the
thing.
rock and he climbs around on trees to get.
Yeah.
He uses them a few times. So
Yeah,
I'll give him-
All right. I'll take that back. But then there's the the pirate world where he's got the cool hover shoes. I'm kind of glad they didn't make a Riders reference because too much fan service and too many inconsistencies. It would rile me up a bit there. And also the one universe that we forgot to mention because it's that irrelevant from the actual plot of the story, where he goes on it and his shoes turn chrome.
Well, that
That's
seems
cool.
like it'll be a long-term thing, so I'm not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you enjoy about the world, Lav? Because to me, it was just more like it was the least annoying world.
No, that really was it. But if I had to say what I enjoyed about it, it was absolutely the fact that like maybe it's just because I just got off the jungle world a little bit, but I like the fact that all 4 of them seem to have something resembling of entertaining personality. Like I still
Yeah,
love
they all
the
had
fact
they
that
all
like,
had energy.
yes. Even though this Knuckles made the least amount of sense in comparison to the others, it was at least something of a at least gave him something of a character conflict to deal with for this one, even though I don't think it makes that much sense for Knuckles. Like 9 I at least kind of get for Tails, but I don't get how this works for Knuckles in any way.
I did like Knuckles the Dread or Dread
Mhm.
the Echidna, whatever they called him. I love that his whole like thing is I have PTSD from fucking up so bad, so now we're just gonna throw parties and pretend nothing bad happens in life. Like that when that happened, I actually decided to enjoy it because it's just okay. This is stupid. I love this.
Mhm.
Like the last person I'd expect to be doing this is doing it, and I don't know. I think it's the cognitive thing going on.
Yeah, I think
Feels
my goodwill had dried up by then, and I was already watching episodes at 2 times speed, so I did not give a shit about Nux the Dread. I wanted him to drown and die with the rest of the characters so I could end the show.
Oh damn.
Sonic, and somehow they have all these sea dogs, which are chili dogs, but sushi fi. I don't know.
sitting in a barrel. I gotta be honest, that was honestly kind of disgusting me a little bit. So like,
Yeah,
how was the bread not
I,
like getting soggy in those?
I was like, I know I probably should be questioning this show that's clearly marketed towards like a younger audience, but it's the Sonic franchise. I'm going to pick this apart because it's Sonic and I love Sonic. um, I just want to say, even though they barely had any screen time, I do love how Froggy has a little eye patch. That shit's adorable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Was there anything else to talk about in the pirate world?
Jacksepticeye made a cameo, which was cute.
Yeah.
He's called Jack. I don't think they actually mention him by name.
They
but-
do. They said,
Oh, do
now
they?
you're the captain now, Jack. They actually
Oh,
make
yes.
They actually make a One Piece reference and a Pirates of the Caribbean reference in this.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but Jacksepticeye cameos for like a scene, and that's awesome. I hope he's brought back for season 2. I would love, just make that character a character, not like a main character, but just bring him as a secondary character. Fuck it, do it. That'd be fun.
Yeah. We're definitely coming back here at some point.
Probably, yeah, because he's gotta. I imagine he's gotta go through and back the crystals or some shit.
Yeah.
I love how Sonic has to constantly re-explain like the thing. I know people are dunking on it on Twitter that are like misunderstanding why people hated the flashbacks in Frontiers. Wasn't because they were flashbacks. It was because the flashbacks were fan service and badly executed fan service.
Yes.
But in this, Sonic keeps like having to re-explain like how he's been beating the shit up and how he's done all this stuff, and everyone just like goes along with it. And I kind of like the little detail how in the pirate world he's been explaining this story for so long. Between shots, it goes from daytime to sunset. It's a cute little detail.
Mhm.
It's not nothing major, but it's like, oh, they paid attention. That's great.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I covered everything I wanted to say with the pirate arc. How about you, Waffles?
they brought.
Oh.
I was gonna say they brought back the civilian models from the Cyberpunk world and made them
Mhm.
pirates, which is where Jacksepticeye comes in as Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic has a one-off line where he says, "It's not an orca, is it?" Which I thought was cute. Little reference to Sonic Adventure in 06 and probably other games as well. Amy has a line where she's like, "Quiet head, Chog, I am addressing the captain." And then Rouge is like, "He be the captain." Amy says, "Sonic is the captain. I wish I were programmed to laugh." That's good. That's probably the most humanity Rusty Rose has shown in the show.
Mhm.
And it's discussed about Sonic, of all people. That's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything to say on the pirate world. Like, to me, my not final thoughts, but a general thought I just have about the show is, if I was a kid watching this and I finished these first 8 episodes, what would I find cool? Like, what would I come away liking? And I'm like, I don't feel like I would come away liking Knuckles or I guess I would like the hammer Amy just because she's like a jungle girl with a big hammer. But I'm like, Sonic would be kind of cool. 9 would be kind of cool. But I just don't know what about the show. Like, to me, the way I describe the show is it is definitely a kid show with Sonic in it.
Yeah.
And to me, the thing that sells that the most is its pitiful creativity. We go to Jungle World. We go to Pirate World. We go to a dystopia. The end.
Yeah.
Like, to me, the thing that is the worst part of the show, not the worst part of the show, but the most disappointing part of the show is just boring. Like, it's just a boring world. It's like, I feel like at this point, if all you can come up with for a pirate world is just that there are pirates, then go back to the drawing board, please. This is very lame. And so, like, even like when Sonic went to like Arabian Nights or like King, Night of the Wind, King Arthur times or whatever, like they put a lot of effort into making it cool and crazy and stuff. And I just look at this and I'm like, why would I, if I were a kid, what about this? The only way I would like this is if I had never seen anything ever, because all it is again, hey, it's Sonic. He's got a cool design. Hey, it's the Sonic cast. They have cool designs. They are now wearing pirate outfits. They are now wearing outfits.
Daniel Barnes, like half a year ago, posted like a pretty good like what if scenario of like what could be the plot and what would be cool in this kind of alternate universe kind of thing. And he listed like a few ideas, and I'm just gonna like go over them like really quickly. We don't have to spend
Okay.
too much time if you have nothing more to add, but he like mentioned how what if Sonic went into a reality where Maria Robotnik's still alive? What if instead all of his friends were like in some kind of dream multiverse where Sonic had to go in and basically like convince them like, Knuckles, I'm sorry, but you're a kid, the family's dead, you need to leave, or like, yeah, again, like Shadow is in a world where Maria's alive and that's a false reality, and he's got to tell him like, I'm sorry, buddy, but things aren't that way. So something that takes like the actual concepts of the characters and the world and tries to like put an interesting spin on those. Would that be like more interesting to you?
Yeah, if you did literally anything creative ever in the entire show, that would be more interesting to me than doing literally nothing at all. Because the whole idea with is just that there is a multiverse. Who cares? The multiverse we travel into is boring. Like you said, you like the baby Robotnik. I hated that because I was like, you wasted an obvious joke, which would be that the baby Robotnik is like super smart, but obviously it can't talk because it's a baby. So what you would do is you would give it a like super deep voice modulator it created. And it's like, ha ha ha, Sonic, it's time for a permanent nap time. Like,
Yeah.
you would like do funny creative things. But no, he is just a baby piloting a robot. Okay. Like I don't
I do have actually more to say about the pirate world.
Oh.
Like observations I saw.
Right.
So Rusty Rose sees a pirate version of herself, and somehow this like jogs her like robot like brain or something. So then she decides, okay, I just saw like a pirate version of myself. We are not sinking the ship down or something.
Yeah.
But then like later on, she like communicates with the Eggman team. So she's still evil. So I'm confused what's going on there.
Well,
then,
I think that's just the usual trope of like,
we can't kill the heroes yet. We need a contrivance like that kind of thing.
No, what I mean is like it's the trope of like the robot who like doesn't have a personality, but sees something that like sparks a bit of humanity in them. So they see the other version of themselves and they go, "Ooh, no, we're gonna leave." And it's like they don't even know why it happened. And it would just it would just be the idea of they see someone who looks like them and they're like, "Oh no, like I don't." Okay,
I'm gonna assume they build on this more in season 2, which I hope, because after that they barely even interact. They just say "you" at each other.
Yeah, I mean they're probably gonna do something with it, but yeah, that's what I took it as. It's just that's just that robot gaining humanity trope.
Like I said before, Rusty Rose became such a pain in Sonic's ass. He just went back on his word about how, oh, Amy, I can't smash you up. He just goes back on that. I like how Sonic's like loop changes with every new shoe. Goes from red to green to yellow, from the jungle to the pirate world.
Yep, that sure was a moment where they actually thought beyond the bare minimum, and I was like, whoa. Robots aren't making the show. That's pretty cool.
And that's about all I have to say about the pirate world. Do we want to talk about that final twist?
Is it
that the whole scene?
Well, here's the thing. It's kind of hard. I would call it more as just a cliffhanger, but I'm not too sure like where. If you guys have anything to say about it, I'm all.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is what makes it so funny is that the show ends with like Sonic. There's no Green Hill to return to. And I'm like, Shadow, where have you been the whole show? Do you not understand the concept of we lived in one reality and then Sonic broke a thing that shattered reality? Shattered would imply it's broken. So yes, Shadow, I would assume that Green Hill is not there anymore. You fucking dunce. So that's the big cliffhanger. Sonic, there is no Green Hill. I'm like, yeah.
No, Shadow. There is. There's Green Hill Cyberpunk. There's Green Hill Jungle.
Yeah, so
there's Green
I
Hill.
don't understand what the cliffhanger. I don't understand what the cliffhanger is. Like, am I supposed to be shocked by this? That's the concept of your show.
It's probably also Green Hill Mars mode. What's Tails when
Yeah, like of course it doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore. The point is that you shattered it. Duh.
Right, and
Um,
that just brings up further questions about like why was like let's just
How
put
does
to the
Shadow
side
know
the fact
that?
of how Shadow was able to talk to Sonic when he's going super fast. Let's put that to the side for a second. Why was Shadow continuing to tell him you just gotta keep going faster, gotta keep going faster?
Yeah.
Well, it's
Also
because
doesn't
he
know what's
wanted to
going on.
meet him to kick his ass. That's how he talks to people, I guess.
Wait,
It's
and you know what? This is a good talking. I think this is a good good
so
point to talk about this branch of the story. What the fuck are they doing with Shadow? This is
So-
not IDW, but it's getting close.
this is I don't know. This is weird because it kind of feels like he's slightly better, but he's also still awful. You know,
Well, I think the thing that just makes him slightly better is just his voice is not bad. Like I actually like his voice.
probably. Yeah.
So, like he just
I-
doesn't like instead of like ooh Sonic, instead he's like Sonic, and it's like
It
okay, you
feels
sound
like
like
a-
you sound like a human being.
It feels like if Kirk and what's his name, Jason Griffith had like
Oh.
were put in a blender and their voices kind of mixed up.
Yeah, I hear more David Humphrey, like SA2 Shadow,
Mhm.
Oh, well,
or at least I think he has the cadence of it. But
I
regardless,
definitely like his voice.
yeah, I like
yeah.
all the voices in the show actually. But
Oh yeah, no, same.
yeah. But regardless, yeah, no, we can talk about Shadow. Yeah, here's the thing. Let's take away being a Sonic fan, wishing his backstory remained intact and that he was a character who overcame his struggles, and what made him cool is that like now he's fighting for good because like he just wants to like live up to his whatever, get rid of all the interesting things about Shadow. All right, fine. He's an angry boy. What am I supposed to find cool about Shadow? Shadow's cool. People think he's cool. So like what about this Shadow would I think is cool if I were just some kid watching this? And all it would just be his design. Because otherwise, Shadow is just like some guy who just keeps beating up Sonic. And again, if this is supposed to be connected to the games, you're a fucking liar. Because the first thing Sonic says about Shadow is, that's Shadow. He's like my angry rival. The end. Like, okay.
Kind of stop being a rival though.
Yeah. So again, like it's not part of the games. You're a liar. Don't lie to me, show. But
Also, why would you like? How can you like think Shadow is cool when not only did he like introduce him with a joke like, oh, they're air shoes. It's like, haha, the funny. But then like right after that, Sonic like dupes Shadow by saying like, it's Eggman, and then punches him like right in the face, and it's like, wow, Shadow's so cool and badass.
yeah,
He gets duped by the
but-
pettiest of playground tricks.
yeah, like the general point is that if you like Shadow, you're gonna be disappointed because I don't want to fall into the trap of like it's not like the game, so it's bad. It's at every level it doesn't work because even if you think that like angry rival Shadow is fine conceptually, which I don't even think it's like bad conceptually.
Like
Every
I do
time
kind
they
of
do it, it's just awful because they do the bare minimum, which is just I am angry and a jerk, and it's like there's
And
nothing
I do kind of like the idea of how Shadow needs to stop Sonic or something because Sonic did a fucky wookie. Like, oh, that's a great plot premise, and I would like to see that explored. The thing is, they have it be that Shadow is automatically default into violence, and it's like Shadow, talk first. Why you default into punching Sonic? You can talk first.
Or just do the bare minimum storytelling and show why is Shadow so mad at Sonic? Why does he think that he has to resort to violence? I don't even need like a deep backstory. I just mean something
Yeah,
simple.
I don't get why he defaults to violence.
Yeah,
in
I
this,
don't
like,
understand.
He
Like,
knows that Sonic's a good guy, and he's never really done a fucky wookie in canon before.
yeah, like
Can
this
you
is
name-
like even if you were to go to like, oh, well, Knuckles when he's introduced in like Sonic 3, he just resorts to violence. And it's like, yeah, the reason that worked is this is a person who doesn't know who Sonic is, and the point is he is protecting his island. And that's
Right.
not
Eggman
even, like,
also tricked him.
yeah, yes. But I mean, like, even before you know that, just the idea of someone came onto his island, he takes your stuff, he laughs, and then he's constantly like putting these little traps or whatever. And then you find out, like, oh, it's Knuckles, like he lives here. That's not like a crazy motivation, but it's like it's understandable. And that's what I think is lacking from all these characters. Why do they do anything they do besides you just telling me? And so, yeah, like Shadow's just awful. He's super boring. And everything
also-
about him is just everything bad about Shadow, but just now he's talking even more and being more of an asshole.
Yeah.
I also just want to note how, like, despite them introducing Prime, correct me if I'm wrong, like one of the first footage of Prime was all about Shadow for like a minute and 30 seconds long, right?
Yeah.
Shadow's role in this is like lesser than some of like the background characters.
Yeah, and I'm fine
Like,
with
he
that
has
'cause
like,
obviously he's
next to
going to
no
be
screen
important
share.
going forward. Like that's fine.
It just feels weird that they introduced Sonic Prime as a show on Shadow and then have Shadow be the most insignificant role in the
Yeah.
first season.
And that's just bad marketing. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
What do you,
yeah, yeah.
What do you think, Love?
So apparently, Crazy Elf was talking to me about this earlier. Wildbrain ended up putting out an art, ended up doing an interview, and apparently they confirmed that, like with Boom, they did end up getting a lot of notes about like what they had to do in order to write Shadow, and that's the reason why I put them into the background so much.
By the way,
Huh?
Ian Flynn was one of the story consultants on this.
Probably
If you
just
want to
fact checked lore or something.
Yeah, if you want to
Or,
like,
like-
add anything onto that, I don't have much to say.
Yeah. But anyway, what were you saying, Love?
Yeah. So with so I get the idea of them not wanting to use not wanting to use Shadow too much if he's like that much around if he has that much tape around him. Now I'm not against Sega having any type of restrictions about what people can do with certain characters, but I feel like someone needs to talk to Iizuka, whoever keeps putting up these who keeps putting up all these rules. Y'all need to figure out what like do you want him to not be punchable? Because I'm feeling like even at the end of the day, if you
Talk
want
about
him to be
Shadow
punchable-
here, not Zuka.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. If you want Shadow to not be do you want Shadow to be punchable? Do you want him to be
Yeah,
a
do you want me
frustrating
to
character that we
dislike
can't
him?
even get a chance to understand here? Like, I'm not saying he needs to be. If you want him to be aggressive and a punch first kind of character, why not keep him framed in a way where he's constantly fighting against villains, not constantly having to punch Sonic in a way that makes him look completely irrational? Like, why put him in situations like that? But either way, when it comes to Wildbrain, I guess my question here is like, if it's that much red tape, why keep him here? Or why not play into the red tape and have him like actually fighting against other people in the first place? Why have him constantly keep beating up Sonic over stuff like this?
Yeah, this is what you and I constantly talk about with IDW Shadow. Is like it's fine if he is like an action first. Just why do you have him be action first against the good guys? He is a good like unless Sega has said otherwise. Shadow is a like a good guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know. So what's the deal?
And even if they don't want to, and that's not sorry, and that's not even meant as a question. If you want to continue doing that, fine, but give him more of a reason to do so, because the reason here is weak, and that's putting it very nicely. Like, he gets a bit of a vision earlier about Sonic, but I don't know why he thought just beat. Like, why does that vision where you just I don't even remember what the vision was, but it was just a
maybe in season 2 they'll retcon some kind of like, I had a dream and I foresaw bad things. So when I saw the loop-de-loop Sonic, I knew I needed to punch you in the face.
I mean, that's basically what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of have like nothing more to add besides like people thought that Boom was gonna like cameo in this. No, why would they do that?
Who?
Like Sonic Boom.
Oh, okay.
And just like one last thing, because I think after this I'm gonna like struggle to actually like think of things to add. Apparently, according to like this one IGN review by Kenneth Seward Jr., which was a pretty good review, if you give a shit about IGN, because apparently Sonic fans do. Apparently, there was supposed to be like 24 episodes that was split across like 3 seasons with 8 episodes apiece. The guy goes on to then say how this season just kind of feels incomplete because it just ends with Shadow saying, Sonic, you killed home. There is no home. You did bad. I'm gonna punch you now. And I was like, wait, that's how you're gonna end it on that cliffhanger? I frantically like skipped ahead to the credits because, you know, this has got to be like a Marvel DC Sonic movie cliffhanger credit scene, right? Nope. There's nothing there. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still 24 episodes. They're just doing it in
Yeah.
batches.
I felt so annoyed when I got to that because there was no like satisfaction. Like I told you this, Laugh, the other day when you finished episode 8. At least Sonic Chronicles, for as much as everyone likes to rag on the game, because it's not perfect, it's not, but at least the game ends with you guys fighting the big bad and stopping, his scheme, Imperator X. You beat him. You take the Master Emerald from him. Now everything's gone. It's like, bye, stinky head. We're gonna leave you here. You take Shade. You go into the ship. Now you go home. That's the plot of the game basically wrapped up. Oh no, now Eggman's taken over Metropolis again. It's rebuilt. Holy shit, where's this gonna go? So one plot thread has been complete. That's the game's plot done. Now they introduce a new plot thread that can be done in a sequel, which never came. But at least they did wrap up the story of the game. Whereas this just kind of ends on a big...
that's one of my other criticisms about the production of the show is that none of these episodes are self-contained. Everything has to be a cliffhanger for what the next episode is going to be. And I'm not going to make any assumptions of like why they did that. I'm just going to say it makes it really frustrating to get a proper get proper satisfaction out of either the episodes individually, because they only really work when you're watching them all back to back. So now I'm kind of left, I gotta be honest, blue balled, waiting for the next episode because like all these past 8 episodes have been is just setting stuff up that's supposed to happen later. And I'm like, could we just not close things off, have some of these stories be self-contained? Because I think the only time that really properly happens is in the jungle universe, because in the Cyberpunk stuff, they're still ramping up to a war, and if anything, it's starting to get more extreme. And the pirate arc, while Sonic is teleported out of that, it's still kind of implied like Knuckles here is just going completely insane, and it's going to be betraying his crew to some degree later on. And now we have Sonic, who's basically just been shattered into atoms, whatever that means. So now I'm just kind of left here going like, that's it. What am I supposed to get? Like, what's supposed to be satisfactory about this? Now I have to wait for another 8 episodes whenever those end up dropping. And on top of that, I'm already not too... I don't want to say proud, but I'm not too supportive about what this creative team has been going so far. Like, I already got bad vibes when I was reading the initial interviews for the show, where they were going, oh yeah, the show is going to be all about redemption and Sonic making up for past mistakes. And well, we see how that turned out here. So when they're already coming out now saying like, oh yeah, we're going to be taking Sonic to his most extreme, pushing him, challenging him to even worse, I'm like, look, I'm not saying I don't want Sonic to have conflicts, but now you guys kind of struggling to give him conflicts in the first place. This isn't a Sonic that really needs to like suffer. He needs to go to school.
I'm scared for where they're going next.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm scared for where they're gonna take this story now.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Left? Because I was, you said he doesn't need to be suffering, and then what were you gonna say?
He needs to go to school.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he needs to go to school for a little bit, but he's fine. Like, that's not really where his issues kind of lie right now. So I don't really know what the benefit of quote unquote torturing him is, other than just we need to get the drama out of it. I'm like, can we not? I'm already like, even in a kid show standard, I'm like, I'm not really wild about how you guys could even end up doing that, what you guys are going for, considering almost every other character conflict we've done up to this point. I think 9 is the only one that wasn't completely awful. Every other one was just like, what was this? Why are we doing this?
Why should I care?
Yeah, and why should I care? So, yeah, I think this is a good place before we end up going to closing thoughts, or we could do. Yeah, let's. Let's do closing thoughts. Oh no,
I have like one last little tidbit of like
go for
question in like the whole project. Like, what? Why is there no theme song or like vocal music? It's like the actual soundtrack. The actual soundtrack is kind of forgettable. Like, even if it's got like a kind of more gamey vibe going on, it's still, besides the one scene, which was great, where they're all walking through the corridor and it's like bam, bada bam, and it's all like 5 of them. That one's good, but the actual soundtrack's kind of forgettable. And in the trailers, they have like this, I'm in the business of danger. I'm in the business of danger. It's like, why is that not in the show? That would be cool. Maybe that could have been like a fight music track where it's like, oh shit, this is serious now.
Yeah.
That would be neat, and they don't have that, and I felt like I lost something. Like, what happened? But yeah, final thoughts.
Actually, before we get to final thoughts, I think final thoughts should be a good way to wrap the video up. I want to
Alright.
ask you guys this. I want to ask you guys two things. One, what are any unironic positives you would give to this show overall,
Well,
besides 9?
I'll let Ian go first.
Yeah, I mean, all I would say is that I think, because I had mentioned earlier, there was 3 fights that I thought were just fun. I thought the shadow fight was fun. I thought the hallway fight or the staircase fight was fun, and I thought the Amy fight where he's just on the hammer as she's like running away, and he like has to keep jumping off like different vines that she's creating from the floor. And like there's a part where like he's on the hammer and he's like trying to talk to her. She like swings at him, he bounces off another thing, and then he's on the hammer on the other side, and then he like rolls down it and like hits her or whatever. So like I felt like there was some genuine effort put into the fight choreography and all the fights really and all the chases. I just felt it was too indulgent. But as far as positives, I would say those 3 fights I enjoyed. Obviously 9, like you said. And I would say Devin Mack took a lot of lines from Sonic that I normally would find really annoying, like little one-liners or whatever. But I just think he's charismatic enough that Sonic never annoyed me in the typical cartoon sense of like a character's loud, a character's obnoxious, like I don't want to hear them talk. He annoyed me more in like writing ways. So yeah, I would say Devin Mack is great as Sonic. I would say 9 is great, and or good. And I would say some of the fights were enjoyable.
All right, Derp.
Basically the same. I'm gonna add a little bit onto though. For the fight scenes, I just totally agree. I love the shadow fight at the beginning, even if the context to it was kind of bad. The hallway fight was great, and sorry, the staircase fight was great, and also the one Amy fight. I agree with the voice actor thing. Honestly, I am struggling to figure out who my favorite voice actors are now because some of these new ones are really throwing me through a loop where I used to think like, oh, Jason Griffith is my favorite, or this is my favorite Rouge and Tails, and now I'm like, holy shit, I gotta like sit down and try and like go through all these because some of these new ones are great. Devin Max as Sonic, oh my god, like so casted well. Just like
yeah.
the whole cast is casted well. There's not a single person in this show that feels miscasted or that doesn't try. Like Devin Mack as Sonic, Kazumi Evans as Rouge, which oh my god, I love Adagio Dazzle. So hearing that was amazing and just great. Brian Drummond is as Eggman, even though what?
Real quick fun fact. Besides Sonic and Knuckles' voice actor, everyone here in all the voice actors in the show have been in MLP.
Yeah, isn't Rainbow Dash or Tails in this?
Rainbow Dash is Tails is Rainbow Dash and Applejack's voice actress. Amy is Pinkie Pie's voice actress. Shadow and Big, who both have the same voice actor here, is played by Sunburst from MLP.
Oh my god.
Rouge is Adagio Dazzle, and Vincent Tong played Spike in the previous series. But alongside that, he also played Knuckles in Sonic Underground.
So yeah, this is just a stellar cast all around, and honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen, but I really hope they get a chance to voice in the games. I would love that because they're great. And yeah, again, even though he's not in the game, the show for much, Brian Drummond is Eggman, which funny name, just one letter off the Sonic voice actor from the other games. He doesn't get much screen time, but he's great too as Eggman.
Oh yeah. To be clear, he also is Dr. Dunnett and Stormbeard. And
okay, well, yeah, they're great too.
Yeah,
I do like the old man, even if it's just like old man jokes. And yeah, the animation is so good. It is so good. It is a shame, a crime that the franchise doesn't have animation this good. I'm seeing people on Twitter that are like trying their best to be like, the show looks ugly, you guys. People are overhyping it. Look! See how Sonic's arms stretch in the blue from his like torso stretches with the flesh. It's like, my guys, you don't know. This is dumb. The squashing stretch is actually really freaking good. Like
Yeah,
so, like the
I will say,
facial
yeah,
animation.
I enjoyed the character animation.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, so much about the animation that's great. It's a shame that I think some of the presentation from like some of the later environmental design just doesn't, I think, help in the background of things. I think the cyberpunk aesthetic and the detail of that one helps with the fight scenes. I think that's how I feel. And yeah, the 9. I'll say it again. I think he is probably the best part about this whole thing, which I was not expecting. And I said this at the beginning, that I do enjoy the show, and I do think it's good, but it is very flawed, and I feel like it does kind of fail to capture a lot of like interest and just like the concepts and stuff. I feel like it falls short, and I'm kind of hoping that season 2 can improve upon things and just do more and do it better. Like, I know there's like a Twitter post where he said they did want to do more, but because of like either budget limitations or because they didn't get like greenlit for a sequel yet, apparently they didn't go all out yet. So I kind of hope they do more and do it better in season 2. So I do look forward to where this goes. And as of right now, I'm definitely like, I still think it's good, but I'm definitely struggling to figure out, do I like this more or do I like Sonic Movie 1 more? Because at least they get like this excuse where it's like, you know, it's more like Hollywood. They get like this excuse to be a bit more like freedom and generic and whatever. But this one is more attached to the games, and they've got like no excuses for like what they work with. So I guess I have like higher standards for their first bout with this show. You know,
What would you rate it?
I don't know whether to rate it from a 6 to a 7. Although I still would say that's good, as much as people on Twitter would probably say otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back to my positives. I've been trying to think about something else I can add on, but you guys covered a lot of the good stuff. I would also like I actually do think the animation here is actually pretty good for like a CG TV show for the most part.
Oh yeah.
9's great. Those fight scenes in particular were actually pretty good. But I would also say it's a lot more hit and miss than it should be. But I actually do think that the show can actually be pretty funny.
Oh yeah, no, it can be.
Yeah.
Not every joke is a zinger, like I mentioned before. It's like, where did I put my rings? Not every joke is a hit, but yeah, I think there's enough that do get a chuckle out.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all my major positives. But I would like to add one more thing before we get to closing thoughts. So right now we are probably going to get a season 2, probably sometime late 2023. What would you guys like to see done to what specific things would you like to see fixed for season 2?
I mean, I would like Sonic's friends to actually be in the show. So put them in it. That would be pretty cool. You know, maybe put Eggman in it. Yeah, that's pretty much all I care about. Is I just want the actual characters to be in the show who were promised to be in the show. I would like to ditch all of the stupid OCs because I do not care. And I think we should just focus on integrating them into the main story again. Because I really want to know anything about them. So, and then obviously you keep 9 and do whatever you want to do with him. But otherwise, as far as improvements go, I mean, yeah, it would just be actually give me a reason to care. So I hope they do that. I hope that this early phase was we're just going to indulge in the concept and have fun. But now we're going to get to the story, I would hope. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think it's a good kind of thing that I was thinking about. Like I would like more and like question answering, you know.
Yeah.
I would like to know where are the other characters from the Prime world. I guess that's what we're calling it. I would like to know why Sonic isn't in the other worlds. I guess Shadow by extension, but I don't think we're going to get that one at least. So like those are questions I would like answering, but I kind of don't expect to get those. At least I know I don't think the Sonic one's going to be answered. I think that's probably just going to be up to like an implication kind of thing. Besides that, I'd like Shadow to be tweaked so that he doesn't just default to punching people for every conversation. That's stupid. I don't like that. Give me a mature Shadow that actually talks before violence. Unless they are an evil scumbag, then feel free to dent their face in with your fist. Besides
Okay.
that, I
All right,
don't
so
know.
I like both of what you guys are going for, but I want to say this. So I'm not wild about the shadow stuff, and I do wish they want them. I do want them to fix that. I would like to just go ahead and start bringing in the actual versions of these characters because you're right. Even though they have the same they have the same basic character models. They're all OCs because they have different worldviews, different backgrounds, and different personalities. Like they're basically just different characters with the same coat of paint on them. But if I had to say the one thing I want to see fixed, I need Sonic to get a fucking brain. I need his brain cells to start holding hands.
It's like I said, why didn't he have an arc where he slowly started to take the situation more seriously and starts to use his brain more, you know?
Right. Like I don't like this. Like we officially need to end the whole like I'm gonna spend 20 minutes continue to go with the idea that this version of this character is the same version of the character that I already knew with a long time ago. Oh god, that is we don't need to do that anymore. If Sonic's going to fight, is going to be up for fighting, then go ahead and have him fight. We don't need to have him like pulling his punches like he did in that pirate arc just because we need to set up for the conflict. Have him at like stop trying to stop trying to have him force these different people to act like his past friends, especially if you're not going to do anything with that. Like again, I'm already not wild about the fact that he keeps trying to get these versions of Tails to try to fly or trying
You
to
need to conform to my standards.
right. But if you're gonna do that, at least do something fun with it. I know I brought this up before. I'm gonna keep harping on it. I'm calling bullshit that he doesn't do the same thing with the girls. Like, if you're gonna go ahead and give them all the ability to spin dash, give it to the girls too.
Amy, why aren't you fanboying over me? This is weird. Like stuff like that. And then she can be like, beep boop, I don't care for you. I just care about being evil. Because that's what I do now. It's like, oh no, you're supposed to be my #1 fan. Now I gotta save you. This is not right. Yeah, and if you don't do anything fun of it, at least get like interesting drama out of it, or something like resembling something interesting. Like, what if a character turns around and says, "I don't know who this Tails is," or Amy, Knuckles, Shadow, sorry, Rouge, Big, I am character. Why are you trying to get me to be someone else who I don't know? I'm uncomfortable or something.
Yeah.
It's like then Sonic can have like oh god, you are like a different person. I'm sorry. Like drama or something interesting, resembling some kind of deeper story question. I don't,
Yeah. And that's what should have happened and paid off for when he first had to deal with 9, but that should have been the last time. So I'm like, we don't need to do this anymore. You got like have him do it like at most one more time just to really really solidify it in his skull if you have to, but we don't need to do this anymore. This was tired.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So. Closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. I really did not enjoy the show. When I first finished it, I thought, all right, that was mid. It's whatever. It's the Sonic show of all time. So I gave it like a 5 out of 10 originally. But then the more I thought about it and like discussed it with people, I realized like if I were to like I couldn't even if I had like a cousin or whatever, or like like a little cousin or niece or nephew or whatever, and I was like, oh man, they're into Sonic. What would I recommend them? I would like not in a million years recommend this to them because it's dreadfully boring, and it's also just doesn't have anything that like crazy cool. Like I couldn't see a kid leaving this liking anyone but Sonic, because he's at least around doing things. Like I would more easily recommend the movie or a game or whatever. So, and then the moment I realized that the best I can say about the show is there's one good character, and sometimes I am not bored out of my mind. Then I'm like, no, this show is a complete disappointment. Fails on pretty much every level. It's a 4. Complete another disappointing show. So 4 out of 10.
Assuming I'm next.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I did enjoy this, even with the mountain of like nitpicks and little inconsistencies that personally irk me, because I just kind of gradually stopped enjoying it and started to pick it apart more and more. Um, I do like it, and I feel like my opinion might probably sour over time, especially if season 2 is worse than this. But like out of all like the Sonic shows, it's probably one of the better ones, which I think isn't a high bar, because the only one I actually like is Boom, because it's actually kind of funny. But yeah, just kind of like repeating what I said before. I I do enjoy it, and I think it's like a 6, like low 7 high. It does. I don't think I hate it yet. It's a lot I do dislike, but I think there's just enough that I like, where it kind of outweighs the negatives. So I hope season 2 is an improvement, and I hope that it doesn't like get cancelled after that, or after the 3rd season, whatever, however long they plan on going. I do hope it just gets better and better as it goes on, So
All right. So,
definitely the second best thing to come out of this year, which behind Sonic 2,
yes.
the movie.
Actually, I'm going to build on that. That's exactly how I felt about how I feel about the show right now. Like, as the show progressed, it started to more and more rival Frontiers in the worst way possible. But by the time I got to the end, I would still say this is still better than Frontiers, because this at least had some moments I genuinely liked. That being said,
And if you want to,
still not, there's still way too many problems here for me to forgive the show outright. But I'm still willing to give it another shot when season 2 comes around. But I need it to start fixing some of these problems, because these aren't like kid show things that you really should be dealing with in the first place. It's just like basic storytelling problems that anyone who's writing a premise like this should have written out, regardless of what their age demo is for. So I really hope that they can fix a lot of these problems as we move into season 2, where Sonic gets a brain, we get a better idea about the morals that we're trying to go for. We don't make Shadow just a punch first character with little to no context to actually get an idea about why he's doing this.
why is he in Green Hill? They're just like Chaos Emerald senses, just tell him go there.
Yeah.
He's just there.
And really just so at the end of the day, I just kind of just want to see this show get better. But as of right now, I'm ultimately just giving it a 5, just because it gave me enough to be entertained by that I don't hate it, but it's frustrating enough where I cannot sing too many of his praises. I still agree with you, Derp, that this is still probably one of the better Sonic shows, unfortunately. No, if not the best Sonic show, but I do hope that we can get out of this nosedive of problems relatively soon in season 2, but we'll see where we go from there.
Absolutely. All right. Well, is there anything else to say?
If you want to hear more about what Lav and Ian and I think about Frontiers, go check out that other video.
Ooh, yes. Hopefully future me can link it up as an annotation up here. So yeah, you guys can go check that out if you want to.
Definitely be in the description.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Well, you want to close us out then?
Yeah, I'll go and close it out. Thank you both very much for showing up, and also, if she does end up listening to this later, thank you, Crazy Up, for showing up for the early part of this video. I hope you guys had a lot of fun listening to a couple of friends listen to 4 friends end up talking about this stuff, and feel free to comment below about what you thought of Sonic Prime and anything you might agree or disagree with us. All right. So
heck yeah.
So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and sign off, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you guys.
All right. Bye. And